So, this is CJ's final show. Because clearly he never misses a show in the first place, right? Sure as fuck can guarantee you the show won't miss him. Ha! Seriously, I have probably appeared on more episodes of this low-rent podcast than he has. Actually, come to think of it, I'm the voice of this low-rent podcast. I have been on this show more than he has. I have been heard on this show more than anybody, except for the curdling stank of Joe Cam's milky voice. And at least I care about what I'm doing and don't phone it in like his lazy ass does. Except that one time, when I did actually phone it in. Like, literally, with a phone. There was a lawnmower involved. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, that's right. CJ's leaving. We weren't able to get his parents to sign another permission slip to let him come out and play after his bedtime. The choice was between doing the SML podcast and milk, cookies, and snuggles. I met his mom. Pretty sure I'd take the snuggles too. Anyway, thanks a fucking lot for your alleged service, CJ. We might actually miss you. A few times. Because if you turn around, you'll see us throwing rocks at you. Our aim is getting better, though. You better run. That'll at least get you out of Joe Cam range after a few seconds. Oh yeah, there's a show to do. Somebody play the damn theme song already.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML podcast. I am your host, Joe. Joining me for one final time, CJ. How you doing?
Glad to be gone. I'm joking.
You're such a dick. Just not even holding back anymore. Then again, after that intro from Norg that you have not heard yet, I guess, what are you going to do? That's what you get, right?
I'm not worried about it.
Anyway, we are kicking off the show today with a fun interview welcoming Nathanael Weiss of Wizard Foo. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm excellent. I just cast my spells. I'm feeling good.
What kind of spells you casting over there?
The ones where I don't get hungry for an hour. You know what I mean? Like, you need some more stamina. You got a little bit more of your journey, and you just cast unhungry.
If you got like a bag of chips or something, feel free to crack them open. We don't care.
That's great advice, Joe.
Hey, what do you get? This show started on people eating chips during the show. We called it a crunch cast, and we were happy with it. Back in the early days of the show. Anyway, you are here to talk about the game Songbringer. For the people who don't know what this game is, give us the sales pitch.
It's basically a procedural Zelda one.
That was short and sweet, huh?
Yeah, it plays a lot like an old school action RPG. It's a top-down action RPG with no experience. You basically make progress by... in a lot like a Zelda game where you just find items and that's how you make progress. You explore the world. And what sets it apart is that it's procedurally generated. And so when you start a game, you give it 6 letters or a word or whatever, and that is your world seed. And that seed is used to create your world. It generates the location of all of the dungeons, the layout of the overworld, the layout of the dungeons, the order of the bosses. Everything depends on your seed. And if you wanted to play the same world again, all you have to do is use the same seed. Or if a friend wants to play that same world that you're playing, they would just enter that seed. So that's basically the concept.
So this is a game of near endless replayability?
Well, in some ways, yes. I mean, it's always the same story. It's always the same 10 bosses. you might pick up parts of the story on some runs and parts of the story on others, but essentially, yes, you could keep playing it for a long time with a lot of variation to how everything is laid out and everything, but you're never going to be surprised by the story the second time.
So no hidden Easter eggs in there of like a secret dark ending or anything like that?
Yeah, there's 2 endings.
Ooh.
So it depends on like whether you want to save or kill the animals, as it were.
We have our very own AGDQ every time we play, I guess.
Yeah.
So I got to know right off the bat, I'm sure this game is going to have a handful of comparisons to another indie game out there called Hyper Light Drifter. What sets you apart from that?
Well, the gameplay is really a lot different. In Hyper Light Drifter, you only have a couple key items. You basically have your sword, your ability to dash, you have some bombs and some guns. Songbringer is different, and there's a lot more items, and there's variation to your items. So you can, for example, craft things. Like there's 5 different elements in the world. There's ice, fire, elements like that you can combine with your weapons to create a unique layout or a loadout for your items each time. And then, of course, it plays a lot more like a Zelda, like the very first original Zelda game, where you start off on a screen, and then when you get to the edge of the screen, it scrolls to that next screen. So there's basically never any actual scrolling going on while you're on a screen. It stays locked to that one screen until you go to the next one. So that's, in that sense, it plays a lot like the first Zelda.
Which to many people is still the best Zelda. I mean, a lot of people still love that old school top-down formula instead of like Breath of the Wild is amazing. We all love that. Ocarina of Time was amazing. Everyone liked that. But to me, nothing beats the old school top-down Zelda games.
I hear you.
Were you an old school Zelda fan? Is that part of why you decided to create this game?
Oh yeah, this is my dream game. I've always wanted to play something that felt like one of those old top-down RPGs, but was had the ability to surprise me each time.
How long have you been working on it?
This is 3 years.
Oh wow. That's a hell of a long time to be working on something.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, it's nothing compared to some other developers. I mean, the guys that made Owlboy, they worked for 9 years on that.
Good Lord. I can't even, hold a job for 9 years. Let alone make a game for 9 years. Jeez.
Well, that's basically the same thing in that industry. That is holding your job.
Pretty much.
Right?
So is this your first game?
It's like a decade. You could start it when you're 25 and you're done when you're 35. That's crazy.
Man, that would be like if I started a game 10 years ago. Man, I'm getting up there. So is this your first game, or have you worked on other titles in the past?
Oh, I've worked on many titles. So I started making games in 1995, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I made my own kind of indie games back then, and I worked for game studios for a while. And then I actually took a whole, almost a decade hiatus, and I just stopped working with computers entirely and learned how to make music. And just kind of explored in life for a while and traveled the world a bit. And then I got back into making games sort of recently and just finally learned how to make art. And so this is my first art project.
What gave you the itch to get back to gaming?
Well, I wanted to combine what I had learned with making music with what I already knew in programming. There's something very rewarding about creating something and being able to create not only programming, which gives you sort of a feel for something, but visuals where you can see something, and also music where you can basically create something that creates an experience for people that involves many senses. So it's not just music, it's not just seeing things, it's all those wrapped into one package, and that makes it sort of like the ultimate creative outlet.
So is this basically like a one-man job, you taking care of this game?
Yeah, and I mean, of course, I have a publisher that's helping me get it on consoles, and they've been incredibly amazing. Their name is Double 11. But yeah, for most of the project, I've been a solo developer, and it's basically all my own art, music, and programming.
That is crazy. It's not often that you see one person pretty much handle every aspect of a game. So that's really unique.
Yeah, thanks.
So you said it took you 3 years to work on it. How does it feel that basically the game is just around the corner? It should be launching by the time we're recording this. It should be out within a few hours. By the time the rest of the world hears this show, it should be out now. How's it feel that it's finally out there for the world to play?
Oh, it's quite titillating. You like that word?
Everyone loves titillating.
Easily the top 10, in the top 10 words.
It's a solid word. It really is.
Yeah, I'm totally excited. I can't wait to see what happens. And, this is my dream game. I'm finally letting it out of the bag, as it were.
So what makes this your dream game? What about this game is it that like you have wanted to see in other games?
Well, it goes back to those old 2D Zeldas. I loved them so much growing up, and it occurred to me during my long hiatus of taking a break from computer games, I started thinking about what it was that I did not like in computer games. It would just come to me out of the blue sometimes. I'd be like, you know what? Like I would be doing something completely indifferent, like maybe hiking or something like that. And then it would come to me what it was that I didn't like about the old Zeldas. And it was basically that you play through it once and you know all about it. You know how to get through the whole world, where everything is. You might forget that, a year later or 2 years later, but if you have a good memory, it's going to be somewhere in your subconscious. You're going to kind of know where everything is, what to do, what order to do it in, and things like that. So I wanted to create something that truly could surprise me, but still felt a lot like those old 2D Zeldas. Like I wanted to play a game. I wanted that same experience I had when I first played Zelda.
So it's like a master quest every time you play the game, where everything is just different, everything is moved around.
Yeah, but yet it all still works. That's the problem with like Zelda Randomizer and all those like randomizer apps that take the ROM and randomize the order of the rooms and stuff like that. The problem is the game wasn't designed that way. And there's a lot of really great bespoke, handcrafted elements to the Zelda games. They're amazingly designed. They're Miyamoto's like an incredible, a game developer. And but it's like when you throw it all in some kind of randomizer, if you're just trying to like randomly stitch it all together, it's not really going to work. You're going to lose out on a lot of those subtleties of the game's design, how it guides you through the world. The order in which the items is really important too. Like maybe, if you don't have the ladder, you can't get past this and blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to play something that felt, like that, like it was like this really bespoke, amazing, handcrafted world, but yet could be different each time because of the way it was designed and programmed.
So what parts of your game are randomized that when everything is shuffled around, you're still able to play it without, running into dead ends or unobtainable items, stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's basically that the game uses algorithms. It's not that it's randomized, really. Right. So there's two different kinds of procedural game design, if you were. Like there's a thing where you basically go and you're a level designer. You draw a whole bunch of rooms, and you've got all these rooms available, and then you just throw it in the code and say, all right, programming, stitch this all together at runtime. That's the random way, if you will. Then there's another way. There's the algorithmic way, where basically algorithms control everything. So it can be a lot more flexible at runtime, and there's rules that go into that design. So it's almost like procedural game design, and it's all flexible with algorithms. Meaning, so for example, let's say there's a river, like you want to have a river running through the overworld. You would need to have certain areas aware that there's a river at this point of the overworld, so you can't place a level entrance right in the middle of the river. You can't place a location of a store right in the middle of a lake, stuff like that. You can't place Dungeon 1 too far from the home screen, or else the game's world feels too difficult. You can't place Dungeon 3 where you're getting some important item that depends on another item until you've already got that other item first. So the rules and the algorithms make it a flexible game design, but yet still procedural.
Wow. So it sounds like a lot of work went into making sure that, everything worked properly instead of just, things getting fucked up here and there along the way.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's really interesting to hear, because I've watched some of those randomizer tournaments on Twitch of like Link to the Past randomizers or Super Metroid randomizers, and I'm always wondering, like, how do these people know where to go, where to check, what to do when everything is just completely random? And how do they ensure that there's nothing game breaking there that's going to make it an unbeatable run or something like that?
Yeah. And I mean, some of the randomizers are smart enough to kind of do that, but a lot of them, they don't. And they at least start out that way, where they're just so random, and sometimes you get worlds that are broken.
Yeah. So did those randomizer runs and randomizer tournaments inspire you in this, or were you working on this before those started getting popular?
Yeah, I started it before they started getting popular.
So they ripped you off.
Wow. Conspiracy theory. Time to start suing.
Those bastards. Take them all down.
The way I see it, this is something people want. You know what I mean? If there's randomizers out there, obviously there's a desire for people to play something like that. And I guess by spending 3 years making this game, I'm just trying to create that, but create it in a really quality way.
Yeah. With you being able to enter a seed before you start playing, did you take the opportunity to put any kind of like special seeds in there that give you a certain layout or any kind of bonuses?
Oh, yeah.
And any fun ones that you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I'll share one. So there's a special world. We were talking before the show started, and you mentioned that you had just beaten like the third dungeon. Well, later on in the game, you actually unlock a third playable character. Oh. And she is a badass warrior. She's incredibly strong. And you can basically start off your adventure with her instead of your trusty robot companion, Jib. And the world seed for that is her name, which is Velle, Velle.
Wow.
So that completely changes the run, because your little robot friend, Jib, his responsibility is to scan enemies and look for loot. Whenever you defeat an enemy, he'll go and scan them and find stuff. Well, with Velle, you can't scan items anymore, so there's no way to pick up health and diamonds and things like that from enemies. But,
oh man!
But you have her attack power, which she's got this crazy attack power. So basically, you kind of have a pros and cons to starting in this Velle world, and it really creates an interesting, unique run compared to all the other ones.
Yeah, because Jib has definitely saved my ass a number of times where I would take out some enemies, I'd be low on health, and he'd be like, "Hey, some health over here. Come grab it." And then I use my trusty top hat to toss and pick up the health and not die, which I've died quite a bit in this game. And Something else that I am intrigued by is the fact that you have a permadeath mode in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That is evil.
It's, you know, what's cool about permadeath mode is it's way faster. So it's almost geared for speedrunners. Basically, like, opening doors is faster. Getting items is a little bit faster. Crafting items is faster. Like, everything about permadeath mode is faster and geared towards speedruns. So once you get really proficient at Songbringer and you're at that stage where you're kind of doing runs really fast, it's almost necessary to play in permadeath mode.
Now this very much seems like a game that was built around not just speedrunning, but replayability and going through it and then going back, trying a different game layout and a different seed and trying it again. How long do you think an average playthrough the game is?
I would say your first run on average is probably going to be like about 8 to 10 hours.
All right. What has been the quickest so far out of all the testing, all the, you know, your own personal run-throughs? What's the quickest that you've seen the game beaten?
Well, so I started doing speed runs about 2 months. 2 months ago when we had SGDQ, and I was like, "Whoa, speed runs! Yeah, let's do a Songbringer speed run." And it was difficult at first because, like, I was like, "Okay, now I got to memorize an entire world. Like, I've got to memorize one of these worlds really, really well." But after playing it like 5 or 7 times or something like that, I kind of started to remember it all. And my first speed runs were around like an hour and a half. I was like, wow, I beat it in an hour and a half. But now it's more like an hour and a couple minutes. And I'm sure some speedrunners out there are going to just crazy break that. Like, I think people will be able to get it below an hour for sure, if not below like half an hour.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Which would be crazy because the final boss is super duper difficult. So the shorter your time, the less items and stuff you're going to have. And I can't wait to see somebody kill the final boss with just like super low items. That'll be really exciting for me to watch. Because I can't do it.
I was fighting in the most recent dungeon I did, which was apparently Dungeon 2, but it was the third one I beat. There was a big slime boss that I felt like I was fighting the thing for like 4 minutes, just like shooting the ghost blade at the guy over and over and over. And I can only imagine how quick speedrunners could just dismantle that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what I did wrong in that battle that it took so long.
There's a trick. There's a trick to that boss. You want me to tell you the trick, or
sure? For my next playthrough, I'll be prepared. Or for anyone listening in, they could get some pro tips.
Yeah. So the pro tip for the big blob boss is his whole gimmick is that when you damage him enough, he splits into 3 smaller blobs. And if you don't kill one of those smaller blobs in a certain duration, he'll combine back into the bigger blob again. You have to start all over. So basically what you gotta do is it doesn't really matter how fast you get him to turn into the smaller blobs, but once he turns into the smaller blobs, you've gotta kill one of them. So focus on like one of them, like hardcore, until it's dead, and then you're good to go. He won't recombine.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know that if they rejoined, it was basically starting back over. I thought it was like, oh, well, that was the first phase, and now it's back together, and now I got to do it again. But nope, I'm just bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of the bosses. Well, not a lot of them, but there's a lot of uniqueness for the bosses. They're meant to be all feel different and have different tricks. You know, like it's a really Zelda-inspired game, which in Zelda, it's almost always that way, where there's some sort of trick or pattern or something about the boss that's unique, and that's kind of what the point of that is.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely reminding me a lot of the old school Zelda games. and it's a beautiful game. The pixel visuals are just really nice, really lush atmospheres. I'm really digging it visually. The music is fantastic. So I gotta say, you did a pretty solid job with this game so far that I've been playing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
CJ, do you have any questions while you're sitting there quietly?
This game is like Zelda, eh?
God. It's your can't you pretend to care for your last one?
Oh, I do. I don't have any questions. I've actually been listening to most of this.
I don't believe you. There's going to be a quiz later. When the interview's done, I'm giving you a pop quiz.
I remember it took some years. There's procedural generation, too.
This is the shit I deal with on a weekly basis. Well,
Wow.
So you mentioned that you've been speedrunning it a lot, and mentioned that you started doing that when SGDQ happened. Have you been in talks with them about having it maybe be a part of AGDQ? Or I think this weekend they're doing some kind of weekend hurricane charity stream with all the money going towards like Houston food shelters and stuff like that. Have you been in touch with them at all?
No, I have not. I don't know how that works, actually. I assume that they're the ones that choose what games are being played, and speedrunners, I think what'll happen is either the game will get popular amongst the speedrunning community or it won't. And if it gets popular, then it'll just become a GDQ naturally, I think.
I think the way it works is that they open up submissions, and then people could submit like the game that they're doing. I don't know if they have to like submit a time that they ran it or stuff like that. But I know it comes down to like gamer submissions that they submit their idea for a speedrun. And I wonder if it might be interesting to have a developer run their own game at a GDQ event.
I've been down.
Hit them up. Let's see it happen. AGDQ in January. Let's see
Cool.
you have it be a blind race with you and like 2 or 3 other people. Just get a random seed and see how it goes.
Now that would be interesting.
Do you think you could take them out?
Well, with a blind random race, it's anybody's game.
That's the beauty of it. That anything can happen. But you're the developer, so you could cheat somehow. You could punch in like some kind of cheat code, or I'm sure you got something in there, right?
Yeah. I'll have to start working on that right now. I need like a game genie code for speedrunning faster than anyone else.
Oh man, if you had like the old Game Genie logo, or like the menu screen with the hand and the little circle bouncing around, that'd be amazing.
Yes.
Get Galoob involved with that.
Galoob.
Remember them?
Yeah.
Remember when Galoob was a thing? People think it's all about
Galoob is.
Oh, these damn kids.
Hey, at least I said something.
So now that the game is out, like, what are you doing next? Are you just taking it easy and seeing how, the reception is, and or are you already at work on like maybe future content or a future game?
Oh yeah, I'm already at work for future content. So there's going to be a couple updates and some stuff added.
Is it going to be free?
So I'm already
or
working
DLC?
on that. It's going to be free.
Yeah, all right, interesting. Awesome.
At least these ones. So, yeah, I mean, and that's not to say that maybe one day down the road there is a DLC, but for now, these are just free updates.
What kind of updates did you have in mind?
Well, it's not all said and done yet, but what the one that's going to be worked on first is something like a boss rush mode, sort of.
Oh. With
some high rewards, or maybe, boss rush / Coliseum, something like that, where you get in some arena, you have to fight something crazy hard, but you get a cool reward for it.
What kind of rewards do you think you can give if the point of the game is to be, basically random every time you play it with the procedural generation? What kind of rewards can you give? Just like maybe music players or stuff like that?
Oh, no, I'm talking about things that actually would change the gameplay. So, like, maybe another sword swing type, or like an actual, like a charged attack, or maybe like some kind of crazy cool, I don't know, ability item, something like that. Or maybe even just an upgrade, like more life. I don't know.
Sniper rifle mode, where you just, instead of a sword, you have a sniper rifle, and everything is just like a one shot to the head.
There you go.
Easy mode for the people who suck at the game like me.
Easy mode. Actually, that's going to be part of the update as well, is sort of like easy mode. It's basically, you notice when you start the game that you don't have a shirt on. You're shirtless for the whole game, basically. And one of the items planned for the update is your shirt. So you actually get a shirt, and that is like defense. So basically you have armor on if you have your shirt. And that becomes like easy mode. And I think what'll happen is, like, if you die a certain number of times, like within the first 15 minutes or something like that, you'll just stumble across your shirt. And all of a sudden it becomes easy mode, because the game's like, you died.
You're terrible at this. Try this. That's a cool way to do it, where you're just so bad that the game just throws you a bone of like, here, we're sorry. Just maybe this will help you. Are you going to have customizable shirts?
No, it's quite difficult to do customizing for this kind of pixel arty thing, because every animation, like, for example, the main hero has like over 1,500 hand pixeled art frames.
Oh, wow.
Just for the main hero. So, like, to change his shirt is a lot of work. Let's just say that.
So the 3 years you spent on this game were just on the pixel art, I think.
Yeah, well, technically it's mostly programming, but yeah, there's been a lot of work on the art too.
I don't know, I kind of want to see him in a turtleneck or a hoodie instead of just a shirt.
Turtleneck. How about a Mr. Rogers like jacket?
Oh God, yes.
Some Argyle socks.
Just give him like a sweater with a train on the front. A little nod to Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Fred Rogers. I miss that man. He's the beacon of humanity, and now we're just like here. So the game is coming out on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. Have you considered a Switch port at all?
Yeah, so that's something we're looking into. Basically, I have no solid information on whether that will be a thing or whether it won't be a thing. So yeah, we're looking into it.
Is that something that you would like to see on a personal level? I know we've talked to a lot of developers on the show who are like, it's a dream to just have my game on a Nintendo platform, like any other platform. Like, hey, cool, I could get this on my computer, but on Nintendo, it just has that extra prestige to it, I guess. Yeah,
totally. I mean, I would love to see that, and that is very much my sentiment as well. I mean, Nintendo's always been sort of this, like, this forbidden fruit almost.
It's been like the one constant in gaming since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sega, they had their hardware, but now they're software manufacturers. Atari is long dead for the most part. Panasonic 3DO, I mean, that was huge, right?
Right, Atari.
Philips CDI. What other horrible game systems have there been over the years? Are you looking at any other platforms, like possibly the Vita or the 3DS? Is it even possible to run on those systems?
So Vita is probably not, and same thing with the 3DS. So with the Vita, it's more of like there's technical limitations behind it, but also there's like, it just kind of like, it boils down to like how expensive and time consuming it is just to put it on like one platform. You know what I mean? So I developed this game all myself, but there's no way I could have put it out on Steam and Xbox. Xbox is like a completely different engine. You got to rewrite like a lot of code basically just to get it running on Xbox. And same thing for PlayStation. Completely different environments, completely different APIs. And so there's just no way I would have been able to do that alone. So I'm so thankful to my publisher for doing that. But that's it boils down to things like, are we going to support Vita? It's like, okay, you know, how much money is that going to cost? And like, can we actually do that? How many people are actually going to buy it on Vita? You know, those kind of questions are not my realm of, this is not my domain, basically.
Yeah. It seemed like for a while, the hot system that everybody wanted to see games on was the Vita, because Sony basically just ignored the thing, and pissed off Vita owners were hungry for more content. And it seems within the past few months that's all been switching over to the Switch, and everyone is looking for more Switch content and more games on there. Do you think maybe the Vita's day is done with the Switch out now?
Yeah, I've been like feeling kind of the same thing going on in the whole game and game development world. It does seem like that to me too. I get tons of requests for Switch, and still some requests for Vita, but mostly Switch.
So is that something that maybe Double 11 would be in charge of getting a Switch port going, or is it something you would work with them on?
Oh yeah, so that would be their responsibility. They're kind of the ones that are gonna make that call, and they're the ones investigating it right now and stuff.
Gotcha. Are they the ones who did all the porting to the console versions?
Yeah, so they completely handled all that, and so they're the ones doing the Xbox One port and the PlayStation 4 port, and then basically I'm responsible for the Steam and the GOG versions.
Gotcha. How did you get in touch with Double 11, and how did you partner up with them?
Well, so I did a Kickstarter in 2015, and that's kind of where it all started. At that point in my life, I didn't know how I was going to make the next $1,000 to pay my rent. I was in dire straits. I'd spent all my money on my last video game, which failed. I had run up all this credit card debt. So I needed to have some money to actually start Songbringer. And I basically, developed a prototype in my spare time and then launched a Kickstarter. And luckily it succeeded. If it didn't succeed, we wouldn't be here talking about it right now, because I never would have done it without that support. So I'm eternally grateful to all the backers of the project. But that's how Double 11 contacted me. So they contacted me and told me what they're about and stuff, and we ended up working together.
Nice. Yeah, we've been doing a lot with Double 11 recently. I know they just had Super Cloud Built come out, and now Songbringer. So it's cool to see them reaching out to more indie developers and getting smaller titles some more attention.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it was on Kickstarter. I had no idea it was a Kickstarter. What kind of fun rewards did you have for Kickstarter backers? I know when I'm playing the game and on the main menu at the bottom, it's just constantly saying, thanks to backer this person, thanks to backer this person, which I think is really cool, instead of everybody being tucked away at the bottom of a gigantic credits screen. Like, you're calling them out on the front main menu of the game, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted, because of how thankful I was just like, doing a Kickstarter was like, it changed my life. I'm like, wow, people are willing to support my art, my vision, this game design idea I have. It's like, it was really humbling. And that's why I wanted to thank people genuinely, because it's just such a cool thing. And some of the cool things that they could, like, rewards they could get for backing, like, one of them was getting your name in gold on the credits. So there's a certain number of backers that backed at, like, a high enough level that their name appears in gold there on the main menu. There was some physical rewards too. Like, some people got posters, which were like a limited run, like only for the Kickstarter. They got these posters that no one else will ever get. There was some digital ones too. So some people got to design their own NPCs, and you'll find them in the world of Songbringer. And that was basically it for some of the more fun ones.
Did you have any like super high tier batshit crazy rewards? Like sometimes you'll see someone's like, pay $10,000 and we'll fly you to our studio and get like lobster dinner or some shit.
Right? Yeah, I tried that. I had one that was like $2,000, but the only people that chose it were both fraudulent backers. So yeah, it was just fraud. And it kind of messed up the whole totals and everything too, because like, you know, it's just somebody backs you on a fraudulent level. Usually Kickstarter will catch that, but sometimes one of them will slip through, and then they'll find it like a few days later, so it can mess with your totals and stuff.
Like, who does that shit? Why would you just make I don't know. People are dicks.
I don't know either. Why go for the most expensive of all rewards too? It's like, okay, you're a fraud. This is completely fraud, and you want to fly out to my house and have dinner with me? You know, it's like, it's weird.
Is that what the reward tier was?
No, I think it was more like, it was something like you got to design your own boss or some kind of like digital thing mostly.
They'll never have their boss in the game. Fuck them.
Right.
So I'm going to guess that over the years you've shown this off at conventions.
Yes. So it was mostly this year that the big ones were hit up, and that's also thanks to Double 11 getting that, like, just being able to like go to these events is expensive. Having your booth and things like that, man. So we thanks to them. Songbringer was shown at GDC, PAX East, E3, and most recently I went to a small one called MAGFest.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You were at MAGFest. That's pretty cool. I have been to every MAGFest on the East Coast.
What?
Yeah.
Nice. All 15 years, yeah?
Yes, I have. I've got all the badges sitting right next to my desk. I'm one of only like 14 people who've been to all of them.
You're a unicorn.
I am. We call ourselves lumberjacks, actually.
Lumberjacks? Cool.
Yeah, at the very first MAGFest, apparently there was like a lumberjack convention going on at the hotel as well. So on the sign, me and my girlfriend at the time were looking around like, where the hell is MAGFest? You would think it would be like on the hotel sign of like, hey, MAGFest is here, gamers, welcome. And it just said like, welcome woodsmen of the world. So that's just been like the running gag is the people who've been to all of them, we call ourselves lumberjacks.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So yeah, have you ever been?
Congratulations.
Have you ever been to the original MAGFest on East Coast?
No, I have not. But when I went to PAX East this year, people were talking about it like, you should go to MAGFest, MAGFest this, MAGFest that. And that's what got me interested in MAGFest. And I was like, okay, maybe next January I'll get to go. And then all of a sudden, 2 months ago or so, they announced MAGWest. And I was like, yes! It's right here in my own home, like right here in my neck of the woods anyways. So I was really lucky to go there and also to showcase Songbringer as part of their indie program. Nice.
What all did you do at Mag? I'm curious to know how West. What? It's so weird saying a different name than MAGFest.
Yeah, I called it MAGFest all the time. Anyways, I was like
How big was it?
So I think it was like around 1,000 people, something like that, for a first inaugural event. It's actually, I thought it was pretty good attendance for just starting something, you know?
Oh, that feels like it would be like the old school MAGFest days, like up until MAGFest 9, I think was the last one. That was at the Hilton in Alexandria, Virginia, where it was capped at 3,000, and then now they're at the Gaylord Convention Center in Baltimore Harbor, and it's just ridiculously huge. Thousands upon thousands of people, and it doesn't even feel like the same convention it used to be. So it sounds like MAGWest with only 1,000 people was like old school MAGFest style.
Yeah, it was pretty intimate and really fun. I mean, gosh, just to have like, you know, the live music and like the whole game room full of just super sweet old classics and console games and pinball machines and arcade machines and like the cool vibe going on like outside by the pool and stuff, because it's in California and it's more of a warm one. So I heard you guys freeze your asses off.
Oh God,
MAGFest, basically.
Yeah, it depends on the weekend, I guess. Sometimes in the middle of January, it could still be in like the 40s and 50s, and you're walking around in just a t-shirt, and they have in the Baltimore Harbor, they have a gigantic Ferris wheel that sometimes it'll be running during MAGFest weekend, and people will go down there. And then other years, it'll be like an ice storm with 3 inches of snow or something. So it's every year it feels different.
Wow.
So, yeah, I miss the days when they used to have it in the fall. Like, it used to be an September, October, November kind of deal. And then when they moved it to January, late January, early February, it got so cold. And it's not, like, you can't walk anywhere anymore. It's sad.
Oh.
I'm so excited that you've been to MAGWest. Like, every time I talk to people on the show, I'm like, oh, you've gone to PAX and you've gone to E3. Have you ever heard of MAGFest? And you're like, I've been to MAGWest. Yay.
Yeah. Actually, to tell you the truth, I met somebody that was a lumberjack as well. So he was somebody that had been to all 15 of the MAGFests, and he was a cool dude. I was like, wow, that's really saying something, man. You've been to every single. I mean, I love Burning Man. It's like, you know, it's different than MAGFest, of course, but like Burning Man is something I love to go to as much as possible. I've been like, you know, 5 years in a row at one point, but I've never been that consistent. Like 15 years. That is like dedication.
Was his name by chance Brendan?
No, I don't think it was Brendan. I'm already forgetting, but I don't think it was Brendan.
Because I think Brendan was out there performing as a Inverse Phase.
No, it wasn't him.
And he actually ran the convention. Like, he used to own MAGFest, and now he's just back to attendee and performer.
Whoa.
Yeah, he got burnt out and I guess decided to step aside and let other people take over and not put his health at risk anymore.
Sounds like a good move.
Yeah, he seems a lot happier. Just focusing on music now.
Nice.
Which, is always good. Music is always good.
Yeah.
So are you considering going to MAGFest in January, or are you going to be attending PAX West? I know that's happening this weekend.
Yeah, so I'm launching the game tonight, basically, and I really want to be at my home development computer just in case anything needs to happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, I'm not going to PAX West just so I can launch the game and make sure it all goes smoothly.
So what could happen that you want to be on deck for?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just worried that maybe some player has some crazy bug and they're like, the game's broken. I mean, even though so many people, thousands of people have beta tested it already, I'm just like, I guess, sort of curious about this whole, like, you know, if there's an influx of new players tonight, like, maybe they'll find some crazy bug that requires my immediate attention. Something like that.
My computer caught fire.
Right?
Well, shit, it wasn't my fault. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Well, I'm thrilled to see it coming out. I'm guessing reviewers have had it for a little bit now. Have you had any kind of feedback so far on it?
Yeah, I've gotten some amazingly good feedback from some people, and I even implemented some of it already. So some of the initial reviews were coming back saying, the art is a little bit busy. And I spent this one day just kind of doing a whole like art pass, just basically all these little minor tweaks. Like, oh, there were these bugs. They would hop around the screen. They had nothing to do with the gameplay. It's just a completely visual thing. But since they were so bright, it really caught your eye. Like, whoa, what's going on with that? So it made the game kind of feel busy. So I just turned down the brightness on those. And I focused on making sure that it had good use of negative space so you could tell the figure from ground and stuff like that. And then another really great suggestion someone had was basically you should be able to have more precision with your top hat throw. So I just implemented this yesterday where you can hold the top hat button and then and Rock will go into an aiming stance. And as soon as you let go, he throws. So it's like a super precise thing now. And also you can more reliably throw your top hat backwards. So before this, believe it or not, I've been playing this game for years, and I never ever knew how to throw my top hat backwards, but it would sometimes happen. I'd be like, yeah, look at that backwards top hat throw, super styling. Yeah, I'm dope. I'm the dopest player ever. But I never knew how I did it. And so now you can actually do that, intentionally, consciously.
Cool. That sounds pretty cool to be able to have more precision with the hat. I know there's been a bunch of times where I'm like, let me try throwing diagonal, and I would just throw up instead and cry to myself. I think the only feedback I have is that there are a number of times where the text gets very hard to read.
Oh, so what kind of text? The dialogue? Or?
Yeah, the dialogue with, people talking, and it's just like a lighter blue or a darker blue on just the color on color makes a lot of the dialogue pretty tough to read in some of the story cutscenes.
Was it a particular character, or was it just all of them in general?
It would depend on who's talking and what's on the screen. The most recent one that I remember was after beating that second boss and leaving there was something with the people in the cockpit on the Songbringer ship. And not the captain, but when the other guy would talk.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, it seems like instead of having any kind of dialogue boxes in there to keep it more simplified, you just have like, I don't know, a stick or something pointing to who's talking, and it seems like just sometimes the text, the color of the text blends into the background and makes some of it tough to read.
Cool. Thank you for the feedback. I'm really excited to have the ability to swiftly update things. Like, that's pretty cool about developing games these days, is you can just throw up your changes to Steam that night if you're in a solid and reliable enough place to tweak your game that fast. It's possible these days. You can release updates that night. So I'm excited to see what people have to say and just kind of keep improving the game for the next few months as the feedback comes in and as the updates roll out.
Indeed. I'm sure console players will have to wait a little bit because of the certification processes and all that.
True.
crap.
Yes. Yeah. So we have it'll always be a little bit delayed. The newest stuff won't come to the consoles, for like a few weeks at least. But we are planning to have everything that's in Songbringer in the Steam version will eventually get on the consoles too. It just takes that certification process.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to whatever updates and patches come along. I think the only other issue I had while playing was it seemed the directions on the analog stick seemed to be a bit touchy. Like I would feel like I'm walking straight up and down, but instead I'd be kind of like wavering around, and I don't know if it's just how it was ported over to console, or if it's an Xbox thing, or if it's maybe my controller might be starting to shit out. Who knows?
So you're playing on Xbox, huh?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that I don't know. I actually haven't played the Xbox version yet.
You haven't played your own game? You should check it out sometime. It's pretty good. Yeah, I figure it's probably either something that happened in the porting process, or maybe I'm just terrible at games now. I have a lot more precision when I'm using the actual D-pad. I don't know if it's an analog stick issue, or I don't know. I don't know games, so.
Sounds like something I'm going to have to play to feel that out. See what's the difference between that and the Steam version, or if maybe it's just all the versions and it just needs to be better.
Maybe. Maybe I'll pick up the Steam version myself and check that out and see if it's the same on there, or if it's just user error, because that's happened plenty of times on this show as well.
I hear you.
But I know we've been chatting for quite a while now. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about with the game?
Nope.
CJ, do you have any questions?
I felt like that was coming, and yet I still had no time to prepare for a question.
How? You've had an hour to prepare. I'm going to fucking fire you this episode. I'm sick of this shit.
I can't. I knew it. I knew it was finally going to happen.
Long overdue. Well, Nate, tell us, where can we get the game? How much is it? Is the soundtrack going to be available separately? Give us all the details.
Sure. So it's available on Steam and GOG, and that's coming out tonight, which is it'll be September 1st. That's available, and also on Xbox One, it's going to be available on September 1st, and then September 5th. So just basically next Tuesday. It'll be available on PlayStation, and the soundtrack is in the works. So when it comes to Songbringer, basically the music is also procedural. So your music is going to be a little bit different depending on your world seed. The key of the music changes, the melody changes a little bit depending on your world seed. So it really makes it kind of like I have a lot of options as to how the soundtrack gets developed. So I can choose, for example, whatever key I want for each one of the songs. So I'm really spending some quality time just making the soundtrack something unique versus the in-game music, because the in-game music is procedural. It can kind of be a little bit different each time. So why not have the opportunity to take the soundtrack and make that its own unique thing in a way? So each one of the songs kind of has its own, I don't know, a little bit of a different character on the soundtrack. So I'm just putting some quality time into that. And when it's all finished, we'll have the soundtrack for sale as well.
Nice. Definitely keep us updated on that, because we always end our shows with some music, and I'd love to play some Songbringer stuff on the show sometime.
Nice.
Well, Nate, it's been fantastic having you on the show. I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your night and prepare for the launch to happen in a couple of hours. Do you have any final words to end the interview?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have yourself a good night, sir.
All right. Cheers.
Take
Peace.
care. All right. Good stuff. Game is awesome, by the way. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'm sure we'll have an interview, or not interview. Yeah, we'll have an interview with the developer of Songbringer on the show fairly soon.
5 minutes.
We'll have a review probably next week on the show after we get some more time in with it. I'm having a blast with it. If you're a fan of old school Zelda games, this is definitely one to keep your eye on and pick it up. It's out in like a half hour from when we're recording this. You gonna get it, CJ?
Probably not. I'm tired. I don't even know what the game's about. What is it again? No, I'm joking.
Oh God, you're terrible at this.
What was it called again? No, I'm joking. It was Songbringer. I know that.
Anyway, we do have some news to get to this week. Not too much. We'll just get through some quick stuff. The big thing that happened this week was probably Nintendo had a Nindies Showcase, which showed off a whole bunch of games that are coming to the Switch, some exclusives, some launching first. We'll just go down the list quick and talk about what was shown off. It kicked off with Super Meat Boy Forever, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. Going to be coming in 2018 and launching first on the Switch. It looks more, instead of like the first game where it was just traditional platformer, it looks more like an auto runner style platformer.
Yeah, I see some people being pretty upset about that.
Hey, I'm not gonna judge until it's out because they nailed it with the first game, and I'm sure the second one will be pretty good as well. They showed a trailer for Shovel Knight King of Cards, the final and biggest expansion for the game, coming early 2018, going to have 30 brand new stages.
Does it play like one of those card games like Gwent?
They're going to have a card battler game in there. A card battle mini game is going to be in the new Shovel Knight.
That's pretty funny.
So I'm excited to see that come out. I've loved every Shovel Knight version to come out so far, so I'm excited. They showed off a game called Mom Hid My Game, which is a mobile game that you could pick up on iOS. I played it a bit. It's basically kind of like a hide and seek kind of game, where a mix of hide and seek and a puzzle game where your mom hid your game console and you have to find it without your mom finding you.
Interesting.
So it looks interesting. It's supposed to be hitting the Switch and the 3DS later in 2017. One of my highlights of the show was called Golf Story, which is releasing in September, exclusive for the Switch, and it's a motherfucking golf RPG.
Well, that might be worth picking up the Switch for.
Oh my God, it looks so fucking cool. I'm hoping that I could get in touch with the developer and try to get them on the show, because the old school Mario Golf games on like the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance, instead of just golf, it was a golf RPG pretty much, and it looks like this is picking up in the same vein, which I'm excited about. They showed off a game called Floor Kids, releasing first on the Switch this holiday, which is like a breakdancing rhythm game with hand-drawn visuals. Looks pretty neat. They showed off a game called Wolver Blade, kind of like Wolverine, but Blade, launching first on the Switch in September. A hand-drawn, side-scrolling beat-em-up brawler. Looks gorgeous. I'm excited about that one. Polybridge is coming to the Switch this holiday. So
nice.
Everyone had fun with that on Steam, like last year?
Yeah, it was pretty popular for a little while.
So the legendary Polybridge is hitting holiday 2017 and supposedly a console exclusive as well. Kentucky Route Zero TV edition was announced for the Switch. Will include the 5th act of the game. And there's a little bit of miscommunication because the trailer during the Nindies event said it was a console exclusive, but the actual publishers came out and said it was also coming to Xbox and PS4 in early 2018.
Ooh, awesome. Maybe it's just a year, like 2017 exclusive.
Might have just been a typo or something, or they had the wrong slide there. They showed a game called Earth Atlantis, which is launching first on the Switch this fall. An underwater 2D shmup with like pencil drawn visuals.
Weird, but it sounds like it looks good, but
was that the one game you covered last week that had pencil style visuals?
Well, it was hand drawn. It was Original Journey, which was hand drawn.
It looks similar to that, like visually.
Oh, cool.
With the whole pencil drawn visuals. They showed off a game called Next Up Hero coming in early 2018. a community-driven online action game where everybody dies and is resurrected as AI partners. Looks interesting, sounds interesting, so I'm excited to hear more about that. Steam World Dig 2 is launching first on the Switch September 21st, so it's just around the corner.
Nice.
Hoping to possibly get the SteamWorld guys back on the show. If they come back on the show, you're goddamn right, I'm going to ask them about what's going on with Heist on the Xbox version. I'm still mad that they shelved the Xbox version of Heist.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
I wanted that game so bad. Mulaka from Lienzo, they're the developers of that game Hunter's Legacy we covered a few months ago, was confirmed for the Switch to be releasing early 2018 and will supposedly have exclusive features and functionality, whatever that entails. A game called Yono and the Celestial Elephants is going to be releasing on the Switch
That
October
sounds awesome.
12th. It's like an isometric action adventure, kind of like a, what was it, Oceanhorn, that had the isometric view and played a lot like a Zelda-style game.
I only want it because it's celestial elephants.
Yeah, and it's releasing October 12th as a console exclusive. So there's another reason to get a Switch. Dragon Marked for Death, a Switch exclusive this winter, a side-scrolling action RPG, looks pretty good. Battle Chef Brigade from Adult Swim Games is going to be first on the Switch this holiday. Another 2D side-scrolling action game with cooking elements, because why
Cooking
not?
elements. That's great.
A game called Morphes is coming out, a 4v4 online shooter.
Awesome.
Console exclusive on the Switch.
Weird.
Yeah.
Really weird.
It has a
Can't wait to use that Switch party system to play that game.
Fuck that. It has a pretty cool twist to it where when you shoot opponents, you steal their body mass.
That's kind of like UT, where there used to be like that fat boy mode where you would get fatter as you'd kill enemies.
Yeah, so if you shoot someone in the head, your head gets bigger and theirs gets smaller.
That's awesome.
So as you're doing better at the game, you become an easier target because you're getting larger. And as you suck at the game, you become harder to hit because you keep shrinking.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. And
so you can identify who sucks really easily.
I will be very tiny in that game. And apparently, not only does the size affect how hard you are to hit, but it's also where you can go in levels, where you can you could get into some spots when you're smaller that you can't get into normally.
So you want to suck it first and then get really good once you're already in that spot.
Indeed. Then a game called Sausage Sports Club, which is like a sports party game, launching first on the Switch this fall. A game called Light Fingers, going to be first on the Switch in early 2018. It's like a portable board game. Looks interesting. They showed some new footage from 9 Parchments from Frozen Byte, which is confirmed for the Switch. Multiplayer isometric action RPG, looks pretty good. And then the final game that they showed off, No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again, which I lost my shit over. From Suda51.
I'm not familiar with the first.
You're not familiar with No More Heroes?
Nope.
Motherfucker, you need a Wii.
Well, that explains why I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, they're so good. I know the first game got a PS3 release in America, and then in Japan it also got an Xbox release that never came to America for some reason.
Oh, I had to import it.
I don't think it's region free, so I don't think you can import it.
No, unless it becomes backwards compatible or I get a Japanese Xbox.
Oh, that'd be amazing if it became backward compatible. I would import that motherfucker so quick. Directed by Suda51, so it looks like he is all in on this one. It sounded like there's a new voice actor for Travis Touchdown, which is kind of a bummer. And then they confirmed it's going to be a Switch exclusive in 2018.
Not surprising.
So I am very, very excited for that. Overall, it looks like the Switch is going to have some amazing games coming out for it. And it seems like they have their shit together when it comes to indies.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
It indeed is.
Well, we talked Nintendo. Let's jump over to PlayStation. They announced the PlayStation Plus lineup for September. And there was a lot of miscommunication at first where like 2 different lists came out, but apparently the first list was wrong. I don't know what the fuck the story is. But overall, it's kind of a meh month, although the PS4 has a massive game for it. The rest of it is kind of eh. PS3 is getting Truck Racer and Handball 2016. Yes, a game just called Truck Racer.
What a fucking name for a game.
I think they've completely given up on the PS3 lineup right now.
And Handball.
The PS Vita is getting We Are Doomed, which is a pretty decent shooter, and Hatoful Boyfriend, which is like a pigeon dating sim, which has a cult following, but it's a very odd game to be included in PS Plus.
And those both are also cross-buy with PS4. So.
Yes, they are. And then the PS4 itself is getting Strike Vector EX, another shooter. And then Infamous Second Son. Huge game.
The best lineup, yeah.
Indeed. That is easily the gem of the lineup. And in my eyes, it's like the only really standout title.
Well, there's one more.
What do you mean there's one more?
There's one more title that got added to it. There's the first time ever there's a VR title.
Oh, yes. The bonus game. It's going to be available from September 5th through November 7th. So it's, I don't know if it's technically a PS Plus title. Just a bonus game is going to be Riggs Mechanized Combat League.
Which that's pretty cool. There's a PS Plus or a PV. Fucking, I hate my life. I'm glad this is the end because I cannot handle this.
I'm glad it's the end too. Yeah, first PlayStation VR game that's going to be there.
That's what I was looking for.
Which goes well with the recent news that the base VR bundles are going to be getting the camera added to it, and the current, like the big bundles with the controllers and everything else, getting a $50 price drop.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
VR has been getting cheaper and cheaper. Like Oculus just got a $200 price drop recently too.
Vive did.
Or Vive, yeah. That one.
And
Vive's
then,
better anyway. So
one other PS Plus note to mention is that Europe is not getting Strike Vector EX. They're instead getting Child of Light. So Europe is making out there.
Yeah, but wasn't it already free at one point for PS Plus?
I don't know. Yeah. And then last bit of news I have is now I can't talk. Thanks, CJ. Xbox Backward Compatibility editions. Very odd editions this week with Telltale's The Walking Dead, The Walking Dead Season 2, and The Walking Dead Michonne.
I love that I found out I didn't grab The Walking Dead Season 1 when it was a game with gold on Xbox 360, but I do for some reason own Season 2 and the Season Pass for Season 2.
Nice.
Cool.
It's always
why?
Good. Why? Because why not?
Next time it's on sale, I gotta buy the 360 version of the first one.
Oh, there you go. Anyway, we got a giveaway to do.
Wait, there's way more important news than any of that.
Well, what do you got?
My personal, the game that I wanted to be in the Hall of Fame, but wound up not being because you didn't get a chance to play it. Maze is coming to Xbox One and PS4 in September. I think it's September 12th.
It is.
And that is the most important thing that's happened this month. Because that game is literally incredible. It's probably the best walking simulator game ever.
Well, hopefully we'll get to give the Xbox version a look on the show as well.
And then you will be adding it to that fucking thing.
We might.
If I'm not here. I'll just come back for 5 seconds and be like, bitch, put it in, and then leave again.
So any other news you want to talk about?
No, that's it.
Cool. Then let's get to a giveaway. We have 3 copies of Eventide 2, The Sorcerer's Mirror to give away. And we have 9 entries, so there's going to be a lot of heartbreak today.
You said 2 copies?
3.
3.
We got 3 copies to give away and 9 entries. So a lot of tiers going to be hitting today. First email is from Ralph Wunsch, who says, "Hi there. Yes, I would like to win this game. Why? Because I really like mystical adventures. Plus, I'm ready to kill that immortal sorcerer. Thanks for the chance." So, kill a fucking sorcerer. By the way, you were supposed to tell us why you wanted the game, if that wasn't already very clear. Next email's from Dark Meek is on Fire. Sounds familiar. Who says, "I'd like to win it because I love puzzle games and I've never played an Eventide game before. Hadn't even heard of it till now. Oh yeah, I also really like video games. I play them all day, so I could always use more." How haven't you heard of the Eventide games? We covered the first one on this show.
How have you not heard of... So, why would you... It's just a weird phrasing. Like, you would think they would say, like, "I've never heard of the Artifacts games," but Eventide specifically? Interesting.
Well, Dark Mika, you're in chat. Feel free to plead your case.
Just a really weird specificness.
Next email from Billy P, who says, "Another Artifacts Monday sequel giveaway. You know what to do." Oh, man. Yeah, I think he's won a bunch of the Artifacts games.
I think he's won every single sequel.
I think so. Gonna be a tough race, though, because we got 9 entries. Next email is from Jack, J-A-K, who just says, "Hi, I would like to win Eventide 2 because I've never played such type of game on console, and I really like those games to relax. And what I read about Eventide 2 sounds quite interesting with its Slavic legends background. Greetings." So, interested in Slavic legends, I guess.
Yeah.
Next email is from Latino Heat, who says, "Good evening to the SML podcast. Me being a fan of Artifacts games and a point-and-click fan, I truly enjoyed playing Eventide. This being the second part of the series of this fabulous point-and-click genre, I would once again, if given the opportunity, would immerse myself into this mythical world, where in this chapter I would once again be launched on a mystical adventure where I'm given the power to make choices on how to defeat the immortal sorcerer and discover the magic of Slavdom." I don't know if that's an official term, but I like that. "While encountering breathtaking lands, conquer puzzles along the way. Thanks so much to the SML podcast for the opportunity and to Artifacts Games for continuously making the best point-and-click games." I don't know how to sum that up.
You liked the first, and he gave a little bit of ass kissing. So,
like the first, kissed ass. What am I going to do without your wrap-ups, I guess? Next email is from Sean Clissold, who says, "Hey, guys, I want Eventide 2...
How was Sean spelled?
S-H-A-U-N.
U-N, okay.
Yeah.
One of them.
Hey, guys, I want Eventide 2 because I love all the Artifacts Money games, but being from Australia, they make it impossible to get on Xbox. Our dollars suck, so I end up paying double if I buy from another country's Xbox store. I wish they'd release them here."
Wants it cheaper.
Australian wants it cheap. Next email is from Oroto Tomato, who says, "You hear that? Almost that time again, of pumpkins and ghosts, skeletons that send shivers down your spine. Artifacts games just breathe Halloween, even when it's not the main focus. Those very talented art pieces and the soundtrack speak to our inner child going out for candy. What a great tradition. Candy from strangers. America is weird, man. Hey, in that spirit, I want to hear some of your best Halloween stories. Tell us about your time trick-or-treating others, and if you still do it to this day. Oh, and give me the game."
So, Joe, do you still trick-or-treat?
No. Last time I went trick-or-treating was maybe 3 or 4 years ago with my niece.
Oh, okay. That's okay then. I thought you were gonna say 3 or 4 years ago. I went door to door and got candy.
Trick or treat, give me your fucking Kit Kats. What about you? You're still a child.
I haven't gone trick or treating since I was 13.
So last year.
I knew you were gonna do that. I waited. I was gonna do it if you didn't. I was gonna be like, yeah, so like last month.
I can't wait until you hear the intro from Norg, by the way.
Is it just gonna be baby noises?
No, but he fucking tears you a new one. It is so good.
You assume that I'm actually gonna listen to it.
If Eternal's still in the chat, she could vouch for that. She heard it. Oh man. So yeah, when's the last time you went trick-or-treating?
Who?
You.
I said since I was 13.
Yeah, what did you do?
I went door to door and got candy.
What'd you dress up as?
I don't fucking remember.
Do you have any good Halloween stories from your youth?
Not really. It was the same shit every year. Oh, once I had this mask that had these eyepieces in the eyes that were really uncomfortable, so I fucking cut like my eyelashes off to wear it. That was a really stupid idea. They grew back.
Cut your eyelashes off. Jesus Christ. Like the only good trick-or-treating story I have was, God, I want to say like 20 years ago, something like that. I was trick-or-treating in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. I was dressed up as, I want to say Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, like a really shitty homemade Scorpion too. Like me and my friend were walking around and it just like a massive hailstorm came through with like golf ball sized hail, just beating the shit out of us.
That sucks, dude. I don't know why I laughed so hard.
He ended up like, you know, I think one of them like cut the top of his head. He started bleeding down his face. It was looking back, it was hilarious.
That kid got.
Oh, man. Anyway, next email is from John Harvey, who says, I want to win a copy of Eventide 2, The Sorcerer's Maze on Xbox One, thanks to Artifacts Monday, but I always found the why do you want it question difficult to answer. I feel like saying the Artifacts Monday fellas make good Wii games and I want it never seems good enough. I found their games to be a welcome change from the usual Armored Space Marine, Dragon Hunter, Pew Pew Kaboom, or Survive and Build a Base games I usually play and enjoy. The hidden object sections, combined with decent puzzles tied together with interesting fairy tale style stories, have become their thing, and they're rather good at it. I'd like to see how this one measures up to the previous titles. Okay, so I know this isn't the most entertaining entry, so here are some bad video game jokes and puns to groan at instead. My girlfriend just left me because I spent so long obsessing over Assassin's Creed. I told her I can't alter the past.
That was really awful. That one's really bad. How
do you get Pikachu onto a bus? You got a Pokemon. Why won't Dante cut onions?
Why?
Because the devil may cry.
That one's actually kind of funny.
Thanks for the chance and good luck, everyone. Bad puns. And the final email is from Corey Brookshire, who says, hello, I would like the code for Artifacts Monday game Eventide 2 The Sorcerer's Mirror, mainly because it's the only Artifacts Monday game I don't already own. I've purchased all their other titles. It would be nice to receive a promotional code for their newest release. Both my wife and I work for the public sector, so money can be tight. She's a special ed teacher at an elementary school, and I'm a patrol sergeant for a smaller city. I have 4 daughters, ages 16, 14, 12, and 10, and they're all gamers, so this code would benefit a family of 6. You can see my dedication to gaming through my True Achievements page. Would you kindly provide me with the code? Oh, the BioShock reference. So, those are the emails.
Well, I think I have to give it to Arota just for creating so much conversation.
I kind of want to give John Harvey one for his bad puns.
I agree. That Devil May Cry one was pretty good.
And then it comes down to Ralph, who wants to kill a fucking sorcerer, Dark Mika, who loves puzzle games but never played Eventide, Billy P, you know what to do, Jack, who's interested in Slavic legends, Latino Heat, who liked the first and kissed our ass, Sean, who is Australian and wants it cheap, or Corey, who would kindly ask us for it.
I'm torn between Corey and Latino.
I'm torn between Sean and Corey. So since we're both saying Corey, Seems like Corey wins it.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
So Corey gets a code.
So Corey, John, and Oroto, you are the 3 winners of our Eventide codes.
Funny because they're all 3 the last 3 entries too.
They are.
It's like we should have just read those and skipped the first 6.
Swizzlers in chat, I missed the email thing. Sorry, dude. A little bit late. Oh man. So I guess we're on to reviews now, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, let's get to it. First game to talk about tonight is called Absolver, developed by Slow Clap, published by Devolver Digital, released August 29th on Steam and PS4 for $29.99. Absolver is an online multiplayer combat game where players are placed behind the mask of a prospect under control of the guides, the new rulers of the fallen adult empire, who will determine your worth in joining their elite corps of Absolvers. CJ, what did you think of Absolver?
Well, let's start with the really good parts. It looks really incredible. I love the lighting of the game. It got a cartoonish feeling to it, so it's not like really realistic, but it's not like really out there either. Like the environments still look really nice, and I like the colorization. I like that it's bright and not all dreary. I also like the character customization. I think that the items you can find in the game make your character look really unique, especially when you all start out looking almost the exact same. It's cool how many different paths you can take and how different your characters can wind up being, especially in the online, because I was kind of sucking at the game, so it made it very hard to progress. But for some people that I would face online and they'd have these cool-ass outfits, I'd be like, man, I wish I was like you, and then I'd get my ass kicked and not win a single round. I think the best I ever did is I knocked out half the health of one dude's. But every guy I faced was also way further than me in the game, and I think these RPG elements of the game where you can level up through the PvE section and PvP, I think actually affects your character's stats as well, because you can add to like increase strength. And so I don't think there's any balance between online in the online mode. I think you just get put against somebody randomly and they could be way further or way behind you, which is kind of that I have to complain about. I mean, that's not a great idea. I would prefer if people were around the same skill ranking or level, rather than just being randomly put up against somebody that could be far better than you. Like, if I was facing other people that just started the game, because in the beginning areas, this game is a completely online shared world. Like, you can walk into areas kind of like Destiny was, and you just see random people also there fighting.
Yeah.
And you can, like, work together with them. And I was seeing them, and they would all suck, too. And it was like, yeah, this makes sense. We all don't really get the game yet. It's extremely difficult. And we're trying to learn the very complex fighting mechanics in the game, and yet I go online and I don't find anybody that's like that. It's like, guys, come on, play the online mode so I can actually have a chance. Because I was there, I felt like a king because I was dominating compared to them, and then I go into the online and it's like, nope, shut down.
Get good, scrub.
Yeah, basically. The biggest complaint I have with the PvE section and the fact that it's an open world, or I mean, not an open world, it kind of is an open world, but that's not what I meant to say. I meant to say like a shared world, is that you can be fighting an AI with somebody, and then if you guys hit each other too much, it'll initiate a fight between you, even though it's a PvE world. Ugh. It can turn into PvP, which is really annoying when you're trying to help somebody, and then it turns into a fight, and you can't leave. And so now one of you two has to die, which is really dumb, and I just feel like that shouldn't be a thing in this game. Like, I feel like in the PvE section, there shouldn't be friendly fire or anything like that. It should just be strictly PvE in a shared world. But instead, it can turn into PvP really easily. Some people will just do it to be a dick because they know they can kill you, and so they'll just start attacking you because it's like, why not? And other times it's just an accident, like you're both trying to attack the same person and you wind up hitting each other. And then it's like, well, that's great. Now we're in a fight, and one of us has to die, and it's going to be me for sure. And then I got to respawn, and every time I respawn, all the enemies fucking respawn as well. So it's not like I can chop through a couple of enemies and then come back and or die and then come back and be like, all right, and continue where I was. It's like, nope, I got to restart.
Yeah.
I will say that this game is almost like The Surge, and in the sense that there's a lot of grinding to level up your character so that you could take on enemies. Like, you're probably going to be dying over and over again in the first few areas, trying to level your character up enough to actually be able to take on the enemies, because it's extremely difficult. They immediately start throwing 3 or 4 enemies at you at once. It doesn't start you off with like an easy, oh, here's just one-on-one combat. It's like after the tutorial, it's like immediately 3-on-1, 3-on-1, 4-on-1, 5-on-1. And
wow.
in this kind of game, that is extremely difficult. It's not like I can attack all of them at the same time. It's a fighting game. Like it's a 3D fighting game. And so the combat, especially with how complex and just weird it is, it can become difficult, and the controls are a little bit like wonky because of how much there is to the combat.
Yeah.
Like, you can control your stance, which means you have to hold RT and then use your right stick to change your stance in order to do different moves, which is extremely difficult when you're also trying to spam X and Y to try to do attacks. And depending on what stance you're in, you have different attacks and different chains you can pull off. And then you also can have little abilities, like if you flick the right stick in a direction, it'll protect you from being hit, and you'll gain some health back on it. Actually, it's like a parry. And then there's the blocking with LT, and there's dashing with B, and it's like there's so much going on in a fight. It's so hard to put all that shit together when you're starting.
Yeah.
Like I was getting destroyed by AIs for a long time because I just like, this is too much. This is too complicated.
And you're a scrub.
No, that doesn't help that I've never been good at fighting games at all. Like, I can't play anything harder than easy on Mortal Kombat. Like, I suck at fighting games. I don't play them that often, and I generally don't enjoy them. This one I did enjoy because it was a little bit less of a typical fighting game. Like, if this was a typical fighting game, I probably wouldn't be all about it, but I probably wouldn't have accepted it either.
No.
The fact that it was a more like almost Dark Souls style to it kind of made me interested. I can say that I'm glad I tried it. I'm not like 100% into it because it's just too difficult for me. It makes it hard to want to play the game more when I can barely progress. I did make it to a boss and almost killed like a big boss, but then he summoned minions, and then they would keep coming. So as you would kill more, just more would come, and then you would eventually die. But he would summon like 5 at a time. And it's like, well, now I'm screwed. It was a 1v1 battle. I can win these. And then he brings in a bunch of guys, and it's like, well, now it's impossible.
Nice. Well, for $30, what's your thought on this one?
I think that you have to be wanting something difficult, and you have to have experience with this in order to want this game. So for anybody that's like on the fence, I would say just they try it. Like, it's fun, but it's going to be extremely difficult. Anybody that's actually into this genre would probably love this game and want to buy it. That's about it.
Sounds good. Next game to talk about is called Thimbleweed Park, developed and published by Terrible Toy Box. It released August 22nd on PS4 for $19.99. Previously on Xbox and Steam, coming soon to Switch and mobile. In Thimbleweed Park, a dead body is the least of your problems. Switch between 5 playable characters to uncover the surreal secrets of this strange town in a modern mystery adventure game from the creators of Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion. The deeper you go, the weirder it gets. The PS4 release also features the grand opening of the Thimbleweed Park arcade. Greg Middleton wrote in a review for this one, and this is what he has to say. Have you played Day of the Tentacle, any of the Monkey Island titles, or one of my favorite games of all time, Full Throttle? Then Thimbleweed Park is the point-and-click adventure game for you. You can tell this was made by the original creators of Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion, the legend that is Ron Gilbert. He was in his element here, creating a game that stands up with some of the best LucasArts titles of the past. You start with a pair of FBI agents in a small town with a mysterious murder to solve, and after a while this then increases to 5 characters that you can control and easily switch between on the fly. Each character is completely different with their own style and humor. Add to this fantastic writing, great jokes, interesting set pieces, and old-school puzzles, and I was hooked. This may not appeal to everyone due to the nature of your interactions. Heck, you even have to tell your character to open the door so you can walk through it. You have multiple interaction buttons at the bottom of the screen like push, pull, and give, and many more. What's great about this is you end up trying loads of different interactions with objects and characters within the environment just to see the results. Not many games give you this much freedom, and with no time limits or dead-end frustrations like with many other games in the genre, it does cater to newcomers and veteran gamers. A surprising option was the difficulty setting, casual or hardcore. These modes are very different from each other when looking at the puzzles. In casual, they were quite simple, and I didn't need help or the need to look up solutions online. However, when I tried hardcore, it really ramps up the steps and the depth of the puzzles. Damn, do you feel good when you solve one with no help. It took me around 13 hours to complete the main story, which is a good length for me with this type of game. I do wish to go back to it later, as I feel there were a lot of other hidden moments in the world, especially the arcade where you could play games within the game. I did find it, but I had no money to play the machines. Story of my life. From the get-go, they really wanted to feel and look like a 90s video game with the 16-bit graphics and old-school controls. It's crazy how immersed I became in this world, and the story when it doesn't look like a current generation title in terms of graphics. This really shows how good this team was maybe, at creating this game. Not one part felt out of place. The graphics, sound, writing, and pace of the game were not only a tribute to the games of old, but prove that these games can succeed today. This is a very good point-and-click adventure game. No, it's not going to reinvent it, but it has all the strengths from the older games and with so much heart and love poured into it. Don't let this game pass you by. Good stuff. And it's exciting to see the game hitting other platforms as well. I know, I think Cole covered it when we had it on the Xbox, and it's good to see it jump into other platforms and letting everybody else play it as well.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we're going to move away from CJ for a little bit. We'll get back to him eventually, but we're bringing in Cole Martin to talk to us for a bit. Cole, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. Having fun recording shit out of order as usual, because this isn't blatantly spliced into the show at all.
No. Nope, we did this all in chronological order. Perfectly smooth, and yeah.
Yeah, CJ's just taking a break right now. He has no idea this is happening. We distracted him, I'm
off.
sure. Pretty
I
much.
hear there were milk and cookies involved.
George is the best. He really is the best.
I mean, you can't be mad at somebody for wanting to take a milk and cookie break, though.
Very true. But since CJ doesn't have a lot to talk about this episode, and we do, might as well just do this shit without him, right?
Let's go.
So, first game that you're here to talk about with us today is F1 2017, developed and published by Codemasters. It released August 25th on Xbox One, PS4, and Steam for $59.99. Win the 2017 World Championship, break every record in the fastest ever F1 cars, and race some of the most iconic F1 cars of the last 30 years. With an even deeper 10-year career, more varied gameplay in the new Championships mode, and a host of other new features both online and off, F1 2017 is the most complete and thrilling F1 video game ever. Cole, what'd you think of F1?
I was terrified to take this game for review. I love racing games. I'm really good at like the arcadey racing games like Need for Speed and Forza Horizon. When you get me into something though that's simulated, all hell breaks loose. I cannot I can't do it. I can tell you how to change oil in a real car. Yeah, I say that funny, I know. I can tell you how to do that, but when you get me into like these simulated games and you're limited to what you can have and what you can do, and I'm just going, I just want to buy a button to automatically upgrade to everything and not have to worry about it. So I struggled with F1 because this is a true to form simulated game. it's down so specific that you can be punished if you buy too many engine upgrades, if you use too many gearboxes during your racing weekend. You can see a penalty in the game for that, which is, true to Formula One's real life standards. You can only buy so many gearboxes to use during a race. And that includes the 3 different phases where you have the practices and the qualifying run and then the actual race. So if you wear out your equipment, you're going to be fucked. And the game literally will fuck you if you run up your equipment. I have put myself in some pretty harsh scenarios, unfortunately, because I didn't know this was a thing. I don't follow Formula One racing. I don't know. In my head, all racing that's not, like weird shit like arcadey stuff is like, oh, they're making a left turn. So, yay! Everybody turn left now.
I agree. It's definitely a very complex game. There's not a lot of hand-holding in there when it comes to like working on your car, getting the mechanics done right. There's a lot of assists when it comes to the actual on-the-course driving, but overall, the game expects you to know your shit.
And there is not a lot of leeway with on-the-course driving either. This is another area where I fucked up badly, because I'm a knock cars out of my way, cut a corner if I got to, but I got places to be, move. You can't do that in F1. You will lose your whole lap time if you cut a corner. You will get penalized if you knock somebody else off track. There is racing etiquette involved, and that is not a thing that rednecks are familiar with.
This ain't no NASCAR.
No. Look, I live, I think, 7 or 8 miles.
Rubbing is racing, goddammit.
There's an actual dirt track here where I live. It's not far. It's 7 or 8 miles away. And I've gone up there hundreds of times since I've lived here. And look, the goal is to get people the fuck out of your way and make those left turns. So this was a whole different cup of tea. I'm all like, this is proper etiquette racing. Like, there's somebody making these turns, sipping tea, holding their pinky up. I wasn't familiar with this. I didn't know what I was doing.
In the headset instead of someone like, someone's coming up on the backside, you gotta watch on the backside. It's like, pardon me, gents, I'm about to pass you on the right side. Would you mind squeezing a scooch to the left for me? Thank you very much. It's definitely...
You just expected somebody to pull up beside you and ask if you had any Grey Poupon.
Oh, that's an old reference. Holy shit. Oh, man. I will say, I really enjoyed how deep the career in this is. I know a lot of games, it's like, pick your vehicle, and then do a race, and then do another race, and then do another race, and then do another. And like this thing, it's not just race to race to race. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes looks at everything. There's story and cutscenes and, like, decisions you have to make. Even when it comes to the racing, it's not just do a race and then move on. There's 3 different rounds of practice that you could go through to perfect your course times, to learn the proper sections for cornering and for how to manage your tire wear and your gas usage, because that shit will come into play during the actual race.
Exactly.
Where if you're not watching your fuel and you're not coasting into some of the turns and not just hammering the gas the entire time, you'll run out of gas and you'll lose, because it happened to me. I mean, I did. even the shortened version, like you can have multiple races through the weekend and qualifying positionings, and like the bare minimum is still to do the 3 practices, 1 qualifying round, and then the race with like 5 laps, where you could go to, full length races. After the first actual season race, after I completed the practices, qualifying, the race, I had spent nearly 4 hours on the game.
Yeah.
It is so ridiculously in depth, and F1 lovers, if you've been a fan of the previous games, I think this is such a no-brainer to own with how in-depth and detailed everything is. If you're a newbie to this series, it might be a little bit of buyer beware, because it's not just a straight-up arcade racer or a quick get in, get out kind of game. It is something you're going to have to dedicate time to.
You mentioned, fans of the franchise already. If you played F1 2016, you can transfer your F1 2016 profile to F1 2017.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, if you've played before, you can bring your character. You can, everything that you've done, you can bring that along with you. I think that the simulation aspect, for people who aren't familiar with that, kind of increases the difficulty a bit and kind of makes it a little out of range for people who are like me. But to kind of make up for that, you get to choose which team that you're on. And when you choose your team, each one has different expectations. So some of the teams are a little lower on the difficulty scale. They don't expect you to be getting pole position every time and running out there and winning every race and just smashing everybody. They're just happy if you can just improve a little bit each time. Like, oh, you didn't get completely smashed? Yay!
It's kind of like difficulty modes where, like, the higher ones are like the head coach in high school, where it's like you need to do your best. You need to do... first place all the time, every time, no excuses. And then the bottom rung is like your grandparents who are just happy to see you be a part of it. And they're like, so proud of you. It's like, you got 38th place out of 40. We're so proud of you.
To be fair, you can still underperform even when you're on the lower difficulty.
Yeah.
They can still be like, man, you suck.
Overall, though, $60. What's your verdict on this one?
For fans of the franchise, it's a buy it. They're probably not even listening to us. They don't care what the fuck we're going to say. If you are not familiar with these, hyper simulation kind of games, maybe be a little more trepid, but it's still a really good game. It's really solid. There's just a ton that you can do. Like you said, you spent 4 hours to get as far as you did. And there's the different challenge modes where you get to play with the vintage cars and everything. It's really fucking awesome. I still give it at least a really highly recommended. Try it.
Agreed. I think F1 fans already own the game and they're not waiting for our review. Nope. Everyone else, as long as you know that you're getting into, like, not just a deep sim race, but like a balls deep sim racer. Mm-hmm. You're gonna love what's there. It has a definite learning curve to it, but it's very rewarding once you get into it.
I agree.
All right, next game to talk about is called Rock of Ages 2, Bigger and Bolder, developed by Ace Team, published by Atlas. This one released August 28th on PS4 and Steam, August 29th on Xbox One for $14.99. The greatest rock racing tower defense art history game is back. Like the title says, Bigger and Bolder cranks up the surrealism and gameplay with chaotic 4-player multiplayer, new time periods, improved graphics, physics, and destructibility, powered by Unreal Engine 4 to be, well, bigger and bolder. If you couldn't tell, this is a sequel to the original Rock of Ages, available on PS3, 360, and I'm sure it's on Steam as well. It is a mix of kind of like Marble Madness style gameplay where you're just controlling a giant boulder, as well as tower defense. The way it works out is there are 2 game courses that everything's going to take place on. One is yours that you have to set up defenses on to protect your castle gate, because at the end of this gigantic course, there's your castle. And the gate is, susceptible to damage from gigantic boulders flying at it. So you'll set up various traps and walls and, defenses, there's, cows that will slow down boulders. There's giant elephants that dudes are on top throwing, spears at. There's all these random different guns and, catapult. There's just a ridiculous number of items that you could set down and litter the course to try and prevent the boulder from getting to your gate, or at least slow it down, because very rarely are you actually going to completely stop it from getting there. The goal is to slow it down enough so that you get to their gate first. And then that's where the other half of the gameplay is. Once your boulder has been properly chiseled and is ready to go, you hit the X button, you switch to the boulder side, and you go down their course with their defenses, pretty much bowling through whatever you can, trying to avoid the stuff that's going to throw you off course or, take as little damage as you can, and then slam into their gate. First time you're not going to knock it down. It's probably going to take 3, maybe 4 runs to knock their gate down, depending on the boulder that you have.
Yeah. I have a stupid question, because I never played Rock of Ages.
Okay.
What are the actual characters like? Like, are they little people, like little cave people, I'm imagining, for some reason? Or what are we talking about here?
Which characters?
Like your little dude that's trying to defend your gate. What is that? Is it like just a little elf or
just people? A lot of it is like Renaissance era style artwork.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like there's a lot of work from like Da Vinci or just Renaissance era artists, and even like Da Vinci weapons are in the game.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's they have artwork from all over different time periods. A lot of the cutscenes in the game feel like they're straight out of a Monty Python movie, with how it's like they take these old paintings or old sculptures and animate them. So it's like this hyper surrealistic, off the wall humor. It is absolutely hilarious in the cutscenes. And then in the actual gameplay, it's just knock everything down and destroy their gate. And the first person to destroy the other person's gate wins the round. In the campaign mode, they also have obstacle courses where basically you and the other boulder race side by side down to the castle. First one there wins a point. First to 3 points wins. They have online play where you could go against other people online. They have local multiplayer. The only real thing I didn't enjoy that much in this game are the boss battles, because it takes, that tried and true formula of rolling a ball down a hill and destroying a gate into weird pseudo platforming sections.
Yeah.
Like, for example, one of them is modeled after the sculpture The Thinker. And you have to jump from like rooftop to rooftop and wait until he's distracted by dancers so that his head opens up and his brain is exposed, and you have to jump onto his brain. All the while, like, cannons are shooting at you, and you have to hope that you don't miss a jump and fall down. Another one of the bosses is like a sea monster where you have to kind of play like Frogger and jump from one boat across a whole bunch of floating whales and boats and platforms to get to the sea monster and jump on him. And then he'll move to the other end and you got to jump back. It just, I think it throws a wrench in the smooth, fast-paced gameplay that the rest of the game is. And I can appreciate that they're trying to do something different instead of just, here's another just plain course that you got to race down. But I just think the boss battles fell flat.
I'm trying to imagine like the thinker's head opening up and the dancers like, are they belly dance? I have so many weird questions right now.
They're just
like are there belly dancers that to distract the thinker? And
I forget what the song is that play. Like, it's all older classical music in the game. Like, if you heard the songs, you'd be like, it's that song. I can't remember the names off the top of my head because it's like
Joy.
Stuff like, I think Ode to Joy might be the one that's playing while the dancers are dancing, and they're just like, in big fluffy yellow dresses, and it's just
it just sounds like
so
quirky fun.
It is so weird and it's so crazy. It's such a unique game. I'm very surprised that it got a sequel, and I'm thrilled that it did. For $15, I gotta say, if you're looking for something unique and different than just another shooter or another platformer, this is a really awesome game to pick up and buy. The boss battles might not be the greatest, but the rest of the game is so goddamn good and funny that it makes up for those battles. So yeah, this one is a buy it for me.
Very nice. I'm intrigued. That's for sure.
You should check it out, and then we could play online, and I'll beat the shit out of your fucking castle. 'Cause that's what I do.
It wouldn't take much. I'd be like, "What's this button do? Why are they dancing?" I'd have so many random questions that I wouldn't be able to focus on the. Why do they look like little cave people?
Plow right through your fucking tigers that are floating on balloons that try and slow me down.
Are there tigers floating on balloons?
Yeah, there are. I told you it's insane. And even better is that there's already 2 DLC packs out. One is a classic pack that has like I guess the boulder from the original game. It's $2. I didn't pick that one up yet. But there's also a free Binding of Isaac pack where your character, you could be Isaac in the game, and you can eventually have like a boulder shaped like Isaac's head.
Why didn't you lead off with that?
Because that's DLC.
But that's
and it's free DLC. I don't know if it's timed free or like permanently free, but either way, if you're even considering getting the game, grab that DLC now just in case.
Nice.
Anyway, next game to talk about is called Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 3, More Than a Feeling, developed and published by Telltale Games that released August 23rd on goddamn everything for $4.99. Part of the season pass. Every time I read a description, it kind of gives away what the episode is like. So just tell us, what is this episode like?
So, as usual, I always do this little rundown. No spoilers for Episode 3, but there will be spoilers for 1 and 2. So, Episode 1 focused mainly on Peter's past. Episode 2 focused on Rocket and his attempt to revive his long-lost love, Lila. That was a tongue twister. And Episode 3, where we are now, focuses on the relationship that, up until this point, we've only got glimpses of the animosity and the love between Gamora and her sister Nebula. Now we're going to see a little more about Nebula and Gamora. We will relive some of their key memories, and we will also see them from both sides. So we get a little more of their backstory, and we try to help them work through their animosity, because they have a very notable love-hate relationship. One thing that kind of bothered me about this episode, though, is I'm a big fan of the camaraderie between the Guardians, and it feels like there's literally none of that in this episode. Like, it's a lot of constant bickering and quarreling between all of the characters, and you're just like, okay, I get it. You guys have your panties in a knot at each other. Let's move along now, okay?
Please
pick up your
kiss
big
and
boy
make
panties
up.
and
Please.
get on. Yeah, just get over it. It even goes so far as there is one scene where you have to walk around and talk to everybody to clear the air, because they're just so pissy at each other. And nothing that anybody says at this time is any kind of new or pertinent information to where you're at. It's just a rehash of, well, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to do, and so-and-so's a jackass because they won't let me do that. And you're like, well, okay, next. So it doesn't really feel like you clear anything or get anywhere. It's just a lot of rehashing of plot points that we've seen in 1 and 2. It's just kind of stressful, because this normally sounds like what I'd say for an episode 4 review. This is a rehash of where we've been so far. We do, however, meet a new character.
Ooh.
Mantis, is revealed. And that's not really a spoiler in any way. And, excuse me.
Stop dying.
I still have pneumonia.
It's not my fucking problem.
So Mantis is an empath, and it's the bickering between all of the crew members is kind of what hinders her. She's hypersensitive to everybody's feels and emotions. And so with all the rampant, irritated feelings, she can't do what the Guardians need her to do. This actually leads for everything that you put up with all the rehashing of the plot points. This leads to one of the best montages that Guardians of the Galaxy has had in any media form ever. I loved this little minute and a half long scene. We're talking Drax and Nebula arm wrestling. Just utter ridiculous because Peter's trying to keep everybody from snapping their heads off. And so that's your job, is just to keep everybody from quarreling so that Mantis can do what she needs to do. And it's just, I can't even, it's set to more than a feeling, and it's just, without giving anything away, you need the whole season just for this little montage. It's just, I giggled the whole time uncontrollably. It was so good.
Oh, man.
That said.
So how long is this one? I know it feels like the Telltale episodes have been getting shorter and shorter. What's the runtime on this one?
About an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, so more of the same, I guess.
Yeah. The first chapter, was over in a flash. And as soon as the achievement popped, I was like, wait, but I don't think I even pushed the button yet, did I? Did I move? What happened? How's the chapter over already? Okay, never mind. Carry on. People are arguing. I have to go babysit. I will say, too, without giving away any major details, the choreography during the action sequences with Nebula and Gamora are some of the best fight scenes I've seen as far as QuickTime events go. They are so well choreographed, and every time they make a movement, you're just like, oh, that was so cool, do it again. I have a newfound love for Nebula and Gamora. I feel like they're underrated Guardians all of a sudden. I don't know why or how, but I'm just like, I need more Nebula and Gamora in my life. So thank you to episode 3 for changing how I feel about Nebula and Gamora. I did, unfortunately, this seems to be a thing that's happening with all the Telltale games. There's some frame stuttering because it decides to save in the middle of a heavy action sequence. And I don't know why it does it. You realize you're in the middle of a major fight, and all of a sudden the little icon that saving pops up, and everything just slows to a crawl for 10 seconds, and you're just like, okay, I'll wait.
Timing.
I was trying to kick their ass, but okay. That's the only issue that I had with it. That and the bickering. The writing in this one is just not. I don't know. It's just not as good as. Maybe they had the Game of Thrones writers right.
So it seems like a mid-season lull, maybe.
Yeah, I was just genuinely surprised though, because it felt more like that episode 4 lull, and then I'm like, oh fuck, what's episode 4 gonna be?
Well, maybe they'll switch it up, and episode 4 is gonna be really, really good.
Maybe they break the curse. I don't know.
Maybe.
I got my fingers crossed, because like I said, the biggest reason to buy this episode and to sit through it at all is that montage. It's so good.
So, what is your verdict overall on episode 3?
If you're a fan, you're probably not even listening to me. You probably already got it and played it. So, I give it a tentative try it, just because it's just not the best episode.
How about the season as a whole so far? But
as a whole, it still remains a pretty solid buy it. I'm not hating it. I've enjoyed my time with it. I just would have liked a little more out of 3, given that we waited so long for it.
Yeah.
And it just fell a little flat, minus that one montage. Maybe it took them 2.5 months to come up with that montage. I don't know.
Maybe. Could be. But I'm sure we'll hear more when episode 4 is ready to go.
Yeah, I'll be back for that.
Cool. All right. Next game to talk about is called Mages of Mistralia, developed and published by Borealis Games. Released August 22nd on PS4, August 25th on Xbox One for $19.99, previously on Steam. In a world of magic, your mind is your greatest weapon. Learn the ways of magic and design your own spells to fight enemies, navigate treacherous terrain, and right past wrongs in the kingdom of Mistralia. Ooh. This is, for the most part, it's a fairly standard, really solid action adventure in the vein of like the Zelda games. You progress through areas, find collectibles, save up money so you could get items, stuff like that. You'll get to dungeons where the actual fun seems to begin, because a lot of the game revolves around spells. In this game, spellcraft and mages are outlawed by the kingdom because reasons, whatever, backstory. And this little girl is discovered to be a mage, and she has magic powers, and she's able to cast spells and whatnot. So she has pretty much run off to like the Mages Guild, and because she's so new and all this shit needs to get done, and everyone else knows what the other mages look like, they pretty much send her to do all the dirty work because no one knows that she's a mage yet. The big thing with this game is the spell crafting and your abilities through the game. You have like a standard melee attack as a spell. You have like a fire orb, a fireball spell that you kind of just... At first, it's kind of like a mine where you set it down and hope enemies walk into it. That changes. I'll get to that in a second. There's also an ice spell that you could like freeze a section on the ground to walk across water. And there's also a shielding spell tied to the trigger. Yeah, so if like you're on a moving platform that's going through, for example, like a fire column or something, you just hold up the shield and you can pass by it. The magic with this game comes from all the different modifiers for the spells. You pretty much through the game, you only have those 4 base spells, but you get a ton of different modifiers where it kind of devolves into a programming element where you might get something like a move. So when you cast that fireball, instead of just sitting in front of you, you shoot it forward. You could also then get a homing rune so that when you shoot it, it'll home in on an enemy. You can get another one that you play, and it's a giant grid that you could place these runes down, and each of the runes has arrows on certain sides of it, and as long as these runes, the arrows match up, all the spells link together. So you could add in an explosion effect. So if you have all of these tied up, you can shoot a fireball that homes in on an enemy and explodes when it hits. There's also stuff like you could put directional modifiers on it to accomplish some puzzles, like you put a right modifier on it and it just kind of spins to the right the whole time. So the one puzzle that you have to do, you have to stand in a specific spot, shoot the fire spell. It goes around all these little tunnels, I guess, and it hits a target at the end and it unlocks a chest, which normally you wouldn't be able to hit it any other way. You would have to have this spell to make it go around and hit the target. And then there's even weird stuff like tying a spell to activate from another spell when it hits a target.
Oh, geez, it sounds complicated.
It gets very complex with the spells and the different modifiers you could put on it, but it is such a unique twist to, what would just be a fairly standard but really solid action-adventure game. And the fact that you can have a handful of different preset spells for each one, where you just hold the left bumper down and hit the whichever spell, whichever button you would normally use to cast it, you hit that to change the presets. So if you need to have something that homes in right away, you could just switch to that and use it. Or if you want something like a melee attack where if you just want a standard melee attack, you could have that. If you also want to have a more powerful one that explodes when you hit enemies, you can have another preset and just switch to that when you need to. All of this uses up magic, so it's not like you could just spam these hyper powerful ones. You have to make sure to watch your magic gauge, let it replenish when need be. It is just
Does it
such
replenish on its own?
Yeah. After a couple, it's like a shield in a cover shooter, where after a couple of seconds it just starts to regenerate.
Okay.
It is just the spell programming, I guess, and the customization is such a fun and unique twist that it makes it absolutely worth checking out for that reason alone. Otherwise, it's still a really solid game, open-ish world, like a Zelda game where areas will be gated off until you get new abilities. Then you could backtrack and explore and go to this area and find this and then collect this and then go back over here and do this. So it's always giving you more and more to do, and it just the fun twist with the customization, just it's so unique and different that it's worth picking up.
So does that mean you give it a buy it?
For the $20 there, some people might be worried that it's 20 instead of like 10 or 15.
Yeah.
I think it's worth, I think for $20 it's worth picking up. There's enough content there and it does enough different that I would at least give it a highly recommended try it. Some people might be like, $20. Wait for a sale if you're worried about it. But whatever you pay for the game, it's worth it, I think.
Cool.
So good stuff. And next one to talk about is called Knock Knock, developed and published by Ice Pick Lodge. It released August 23rd on Xbox One for $6.99, previously on Steam and PS4. There's an unusual cabin deep in the woods. It had served as a laboratory and a dwelling for 3 generations of lodgers, but as of late, the latest lodger has been noticing weird changes in familiar surroundings. Things are missing, noises and rattles heard. Something odd is coming out of the woods. Cole, what is Knock Knock?
Knock Knock is so weird. And that's the beauty of it. Like, that's just the absolute glory of this game, is that it is so scattered and random and unusual that you get sucked into it. I've had all these other games to review this week, and every time I've played one, I've said, I really just want to be playing Knock Knock. I have to be honest. Like, I'll be in the middle of F1 and I'm like, okay, I'm doing all right, but Knock Knock. I really enjoyed this game. It is a 2D side scroller, if you will. It doesn't side scroll on its own, but you move side to side. You have your little lodger. He considers himself a worldologist. His job is to just go out and check on the forest and take samples of leaves in the dirt, make sure everything's okay, and to keep up this little cabin that's in the forest. He's lived in this cabin his entire life. His father lived in this cabin. His grandfather lived in this cabin. He is a 3rd generation, and he's going batshit insane. Just literally, woo! His hair is all frazzled, and he's in his nightgown and his little plaid socks and his house shoes, and he's got a candle if he's in the house. He's got a little lantern if he goes out, and he's not got his brain anymore. So because of that, his speech is a little garbled. We had a discussion in the past about the garbled speech in games and how it gets really fucking annoying really fast. I found, though, I wasn't bothered by it in this. It just seemed like it was natural, and it didn't so much sound like that cartoonish garbled as like, it sounds like he's just speaking a different language that you're not accustomed to. It's you would only notice that it's garbled if you're really paying attention and realize that some of the words repeat fairly often. But then again, you could be like, he's also a nut. So who knows? But the what he says is translated into English in subtitles. So he will he explains the rules of the game to you in little short bursts. But he's not. It doesn't seem as if he's even sure of them himself, because everything he tells you isn't entirely accurate. And in addition to the lodger, you have the visitors. The visitors are not friendly. The lodger will move about the house and fix lights, and he has to sit in a room for a few seconds after fixing a light to remember it. And remember, oh, there was furniture here. It wasn't a blank room. It was there was a bed over here, or there was a dresser. It's really important to remember where that furniture is at, because when the visitors come, you need a place to hide. The whole premise is that about 2 hours before dawn, every night, the lodger wakes up because he's being haunted by these visitors. And he has to, like I said, turn on all the lights, remember all the room. Sometimes it seems as if, though, carrying out the task that you're supposed to do to make it till morning can set you back just as much as it propels you forward. Mm-hmm. And the game is never really clear, like, was that a successful thing to do? Was I supposed to turn that light on? Was I supposed to go in that room? Or you're never really sure if you're succeeding. I've heard people complain, that the game's confusing. It's hard to pick up on the nuances of it. The most important thing to remember with Knock Knock is that it's basically just a glorified game of hide and seek. You have one night where you are in the house and you have to hide. You have to keep yourself safe from the visitors until morning. The next night, you have to seek. And you will leave the house and go into the forest. And you will explore the forest until morning. If you do not find what you are seeking, or if the visitors find you when you are supposed to be hiding, you start the night over. And it's just an infinite loop. In between each night, you will have like a small, not quite a loading screen, but more like a loading screen, and a level select had a baby is what pops up. And it will tell you there's a spiral, and it will have either the drawing of the house or the drawing of an eye. So if it's the house, you're supposed to hide, and if it's an eye, you're supposed to seek. So you know in advance when the day starts which one you're going to be doing. But if you do fail, you will start over, and it's an infinite loop. The house and the forest are both randomly generated every day. They are never the same. So you can't even look up a guide and be like, how do I get through night 4? No. Good luck to you. You're on your own. You're doing this the hard way.
Suck it up.
Yeah. So there are 2 possible endings for it. And one is considered a good ending, one is considered a bad, and it is dependent upon how well you perform during the hiding and the seeking, and also whether or not you can find the diary pages, because the lodger was given a diary by his father, and his father told him, when you write on the last page, that will be the day you die. So he makes a very big deal about how he wrote really tiny, and now this diary has gone missing. He has to find it. So if you don't find the pages of the diary, that affects your ending. All in all, it's really quirky. It's creative. The art style is just really cool. It kind of reminds you of something like Tim Burton would have done. So I give it a solid buy it. I love this game. I'm probably going to get off of here and go play it after I'm done with these reviews. I want more Knock Knock in my day.
I think it was in Shiz's one stream where I think Jordan was in there like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing in this game. I'm so confused.
When you catch on that it's basically just hide and seek, that's the key. So, but like I said, the monsters, well, they're not monsters, they're visitors. But they will... Their voices will cut in and kind of, don't turn on the light or don't hide from me. And you're never quite sure if they're telling you the truth or not. So, I had them say, don't hide from me. I'm sorry. If a ghost tells me don't hide from me, bitch, I'm gone. I will see you 3 rooms from now. I will be behind the boiler. You can walk right on by. So
basically, Jordan just needs to get good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. The last game for us to talk about, we'll have some more when you're back out of here, but last game for us is Surf World Series, developed by Climax Studios, published by Vision Games Publishing, released August 30th on Xbox, PS4, and Steam for $14.99. Grab your board and take to the waves in Surf World Series. Experience the thrill of killer tricks and monster waves at 5 legendary surfing destinations. Master your moves with 44 single-player challenges or compete online against up to 15 other players across 3 different game modes to become a surfing legend. Cole, tell me about Surf World Series.
I'm really bad at surfing. I don't think there's anybody that can wipe out as frequently and as fast as I do. It's like, the basic tutorial is ride to the top of the wave and then pull back. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to jump over the wave 500 times in a row. That's my goal. I'm gone. I don't think I ever actually completed that part of the tutorial. I think I found a way to skip it.
Oh, wow.
Because I just kept right over top. I couldn't do it. And graphically,
you're just supposed to, pull towards you away from the wave.
I know. I kept push that button. Yeah, wait. It didn't do it. Okay. Over the edge of the wave. What's the floater where you're on top of the wave? Right off of it every time. There's a red bar there for a reason.
Yeah, you're supposed to let go before the red bar.
I feel like I've been told that before, and yet it still hasn't sunk in.
So give us the gist of the game, but before we continue with how bad you were at
it. It's a classic sport game, but with surfing. So you want to rack up points from doing surfing tricks. I don't even know all the fancy words.
Okay, I'll try filling in some blanks for you then.
You make me feel better because
after you go through the 8 tutorial stages, it's basically, you can do free surf or you can do career mode challenges that you can, accomplish. You'll basically be in the ocean or in a wave pool, depending on the stage that you're on. You'll hold the A button and release it to start surfing, and from there you basically just do tricks and score as high as you can in the time that you have while the wave is active. And once you're done, you'll just repeat. A lot of the tournaments come down to your best 2 runs averaged out, and you have to beat a target score, and after that you'll complete the stage. You'll also have challenges to do at each of the 3 stages, like score this much or ride in the tunnel, I think it is, when you're in the area that the wave is crashing over, ride in there for a certain amount of time, or do an entire event without wiping out, just ride them to the end. So it's very much an arcade game, arcade style scoring, just points. Get points, do as good as you can. Don't repeat tricks because you won't get that many points. Build up your gauge and bust out the crazy stuff and hope that you land them right. Just arcade style surfing.
Don't be like me and just keep flipping over. I spent a lot of my time in the free surf just trying to figure out what I was doing, and I was just like, I'm terrible in every way. I can't even. like, why am I? I'm just gonna fly over the wave, and I just did. Over the wave every time. But it's really well done. If you're not as bad at games as me, you're probably gonna enjoy this. But I did really bad.
I think it's a really good-looking game. Visually, it's really nice. The soundtrack is great. Some awesome surf music in there.
I give it bonus points for having your characters. There's a diversity of characters. Like, you can choose to be male or female, or, I think there was even an Asian character, and there was another. Yeah, there were options. I'm failing at this one so bad.
And then board customization too, which is fun.
You could choose your board. You could choose your character's clothes. You unlocked clothes as you got better, which I didn't do. But there's a lot of options for play here, and you can't be mad at surfing online.
Yeah, and I'll give them bonus points alone for making a new surfing game. It's been a long time since we've seen a surfing game on the market, so a lot of bonus credit for that alone.
It is definitely a niche that does not get a lot of attention.
Agreed. But for $15, what's your thought on Surf World Series?
I'm gonna say try it. I hope you're better at it than me. I hope that you can at least figure out the controls, because I couldn't. I didn't manage it. But it is gorgeous done. It's well done. The controls, the ones that I could manage, they handled fine. I didn't see anything to bitch about it. I love that there was, diversity, character diversity, and customization. I'm prone to giving bonus points to literally anything that has multiplayer at this point. We see a lot of ID games that would be dramatically improved if you could play it with a friend.
True. And
the option is just not there. So anytime there's multiplayer, I'm like, thank you.
And not just multiplayer, 16-person multiplayer.
That's impressive. It really is. So I give it a solid try it.
Agreed. I think it's definitely a niche game, but there's an audience out there who's hungry for a surfing game, and if you're one of those people, I think it's worth your $15.
I can agree to that.
All right. Well, that's all that you and I have to. I say like that's all. Like we didn't just talk about 6 fucking games, but we're gonna
got like 8 more to go.
we're gonna have a hastily edited cut back to the rest of the show with CJ and probably like 1 or 2 more. I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do. I'm recording this in the fucking afternoon. Give me a break. All right, moving on. Next game to talk about is called the Metronomicon Slay the Dance Floor, developed by Puba, published on consoles by Akupara Games. It released August 29th on PS4, August 30th on Xbox One for $19.99. The Metronomicon sees you take control of a party of 8 newly graduated masters of the rhythmic combat arts to wage musical warfare against a multitude of dance-mongering fiends. In the RPG spirit, you'll need to improve your character's stats, hunt down powerful equipment, and combine a multitude of newly learned abilities, switching between tanking, healing, buffing, and damage-dealing classes as required in real time. If you didn't hear our interview with Danny from Puba last week on the show, first off, go listen to that because it was an awesome show. And second, this game is basically, if you were to take a rhythm game and mix it with an RPG and just amazing music.
I remember this interview. Yes.
Yeah, you were there, remember?
Yes, and I actually paid attention to that one.
So the way the game works is you have a party of 4 characters, and you're basically playing each of their parts together. You're going to see note charts come down for each of the characters, and you select which one you want to use and play the notes. And when you complete the section of notes, their ability will activate as you progress through the game, they'll get more abilities, so you could either continue playing to activate a second or the third tier ability, or stop whenever the ability you want to activate is used, and then you would just switch to the next person. Healers are going to obviously heal your characters and boost your life bar. Depending on the characters, some of them might have attack abilities, some of them might have like increasing strength of your characters or inflicting ailments on the opponents, and it's basically survive through the song, killing as many enemies as you can. You can play this a variety of ways. The just standard out of the box is pretty much using the controller, where you could either use the D-pad or the face buttons to do the up, down, left, and right as they come down. For me, the thing that made this game go from really good to amazing is the fact that they have Rock Band guitar support in the game. So as these arrows come down, instead of worrying about arrows and directions, you're just hitting the 4 buttons on the guitar fret and playing along to it. So I went from thinking, oh man, I could play this on easy and check out how it works. It's like, oh, well, yeah, this is pretty okay, to switching over to the guitar and playing on hard and just like having the time of my life with this game. The RPG elements are fun in that as you kill monsters and complete songs, you're leveling your characters up, getting new abilities. You could get new equipment, getting new party members in the game, so you could swap them out and try different combinations. The soundtrack is massive and amazing. It's got some of the best music for a licensed soundtrack that I've heard in a long time, including the fact that like I have friends in the game, which is really cool. Like Viking Guitar is in the game, Ben Briggs is in the game, Stemage is in the game. So like people I know and talk to and I'm friends with are in this game, and I get to play their songs in the game. They also, as of now, have 2 DLC packs available. Each one has 3 songs, and they're only $2 for 3 songs, which is ridiculous considering like Rocksmith is $3 per song, Rock Band is $3 or $2 per song. So to get 3 songs for $2, I'm gonna buy fucking every bit of DLC that comes out for this game. Overall, if you're a fan of rhythm games, I think this is an absolute must own, especially if you are like me, a Rock Band fan, and you have a guitar sitting around. Like I said, the game goes from fun to amazing once you switch from a controller to a guitar. I wish you were able to do more with the guitar in terms of like menu navigation and equipping party members. So you can't do everything on the guitar. You're still going to want to keep a controller around to do a lot of menu navigation stuff. But the actual gameplay using the guitar, it just feels right. For $20, if you're a rhythm game fan, must own, must buy. And it might be a Hall of Fame contender eventually. We'll see. But I fucking love this game, and I give it my highest recommendation. And that's all I got to say about that.
Awesome.
Final game to talk about tonight is called Feral Fury, developed and published by Scandinavia Games. Almost got that wrong. Released August 30th on Xbox One for $9.99, previously available on Steam. Long after humankind perished in the flames of the oil wars, the Great Panda Empire is expanding throughout the galaxy as the new dominant power. With the old world in ashes and the endless need for bamboo, entire planets are turned into plantations and the flames of war are lit once again. Our friend Dark Mika covered this one and sent in an email. And CJ, it's your last show. You're going to read this fucking email.
I accidentally deleted it, so I can't.
Nope. This one is all you. Get to reading, you piece of shit.
All right, one second. All right. Feral Fury is a twin-stick shooter where you play as a panda killing pig enemies with a multitude of weapons. The pigs have more advanced tech on their side by having various types of robots and both various weapons and magical powers against the pandas who only have weapons and seemingly stolen tech. Each level has a procedurally generated map, with each of the 5 main levels has its own visual style, and each of those levels has 3 sub-levels, making for a total of 15 levels to fight through. All right, there we go.
There's one paragraph. Keep going, bitch.
And I'd never played a twin-stick shooter before. I had been wanting to try one for a while, but never really thought about actually buying one because I'm a story gamer. This, like many other twin sticks, doesn't really have much of a story. It's just kill enemies and get to the end. I had to correct a lot of that in that paragraph. That was not my fault.
Well, Dark Mika's in the chat, so take it up with her.
Yeah, come on, Dark
Keep
Mika.
reading, fucker.
There's 3 difficulties, easy, normal, and hard. Only the first 2 are open from the start, and you have to beat the entire game on normal to open hard, something I have yet to even do on easy. You can find and buy gear in levels from chests and vendors, but you can also unlock some permanent boons by collecting orbs off of dead enemies. These boons go from starting with some extra equipment to other permanent stat boosts. The game doesn't really explain much, like at all. Doesn't explain much for the story. There's some sort of minor plot that I assume is the pigs starting a war with everyone else, or maybe it was the pandas. Not honestly sure myself. But then again, this is a very loose story and it doesn't really matter much. It also doesn't, much to my detriment, explain how anything works. It does show how what the buttons do if you go to the menu. And on the first level, it tells you how to get around and again what the buttons do, but that's it. There's no explanation of what weapons do or what other items you pick up until you actively pick them up. That's weird. I don't really know what that means, but I read it. It also doesn't tell you something which I found out after 2 or 3 days of non-stop playing. You can roll into boxes to destroy them, including ones that you are not able to destroy with your guns. Finding out that made things much easier in some cases, something I would have loved to have fucking known in the first place. So many times I had to run away from stuff over traps so I couldn't stop, all because of the boxes that I couldn't destroy with my guns. I could have just rolled into them. Almost makes me want to cry. Just fucking traps, man. Goddamn.
See, I just, out of instinct, I try rolling into everything when I have a roll mechanic in a game. So,
yeah.
User error. We covered that earlier.
Graphically and auditorily, it seemed the same as any other twin-stick shooter from what I've watched on streams and on YouTube's. So it's the same quality as any other game in the genre. There is one interesting bit to this to me. There are daily runs, 1 per day, which are tied to an achievement to get 150 points on a single run, which is hard as hell, I'll admit. You don't seem to retain any of the bought upgrades, only the stuff you get in the level. I have run 3 of these, and in 2 of them I've ran into the game kicking me back to the dashboard, which allowed me to restart the level only to be kicked back to the dashboard at the same area over and over. So it's not completely bug-free, but that was really the only glitch I found. I would like for the screen to be able to be modified so that we could move the screen and grow/shrink it. Lots of games on the 360 allowed for that, as did the HUD for the 360 itself. For some reason, the Xbox One doesn't allow modifications beyond its few preset ones, none of which fit my TV unless I want to play with 0 sound. This means that the various counters and about 1/4 to 1/3 of the map wasn't viewable to me, which makes the game significantly harder. However, even with that, I've still had fun with the game. I'm still enjoying it, still wanting to play it, and still wanting to beat it even.
That sounds like an issue with your TV. I wonder if you have an older TV or something that has like an overscan option on there. You might want to check to see if you have like an overscan option on your TV. I'm actually going to tackle this last paragraph mainly because when she wrote in the review, we didn't have the pricing information on the game at the time. On Steam, the game is $7, and on Xbox One, it is $10. If you like twin-stick shooters, I say 100% worth it. If you don't like them, then don't get it. This is more the same regardless of how you feel about them. If you're on the fence, I'd say buy it. Doesn't cost that much, and it's pretty fun even if, like me, you suck at it. Random fact about pandas, they're so lazy they don't even like to mate. Because of that, they're going extinct in real life. Yeah, they're that stupid. Cute and cuddly, dumb as a rock. So,
I didn't do that bad.
No,
honestly.
you held your own. About fucking time, by the way.
What if I was lying to you the whole time and I knew how to read? I just didn't want to.
wouldn't be shocked. Well, that is the end of this episode. CJ, do you have anything you want to say for your final show?
I won't lie, I didn't enjoy myself at all. I'm joking. No, I actually really enjoyed the show, and I plan to participate from time to time if Joe will allow it. But if he doesn't, then goodbye. This is my last time I'll ever see you or speak to you.
Hey, you're the one quitting. This could have all been yours when I retired.
Oh yeah, when you're fucking
this empire
wish at 90 is for me to continue your damn show.
Let's be honest. How many games that this show is covering in like the next 2 weeks did you really want to cover?
I mean, I'm a little bit annoyed that it was a bad time to quit. I will say that. I should have waited until the end of September.
Yeah, and just think that you left as the holiday game rush is kicking off, and I'm down an Xbox reviewer on a show that focuses heavily on Xbox games. You son of a bitch.
It was all actually my plot to just leave you hanging.
You motherfucker. Well, I guess that is it for this episode. For the last time, CJ, do you have any final words to end the show?
Fuck you.
You're condemned for the human race. Use all your skill and might, but you're still leaving here in disgrace. Your Lord, your legions, all alone. Swing your sword and your shield till your arms break. Feel the thrill of the kill when you're taking something and making nothing. Guard yourself, but your soul left laid bare. With vanity, I can see us staring back at you. I'm staring back at you. I know your story. Your place in the sun.